You are now entering a dangerous liberty zone where God-given natural rights are held sacred and exercised. This is your warning. Tyranny, fascism, and censorship will not be tolerated. Ideas will be exchanged freely. Rigorous debate and open discourse is encouraged. If you are weak and your beliefs are fragile, you should leave now. Prepare yourself. We are now live on the Dangerous Liberty Podcast.
What is happening, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Man, do we got a great show for you today. As a matter of fact, the subject of our show is right now in my comment section on X. I hope he's tuned in. John Mappin, if you're out there right now, I will send you a guest link. You're welcome to come on the show. And I would love to hear you talk about the fact that Erica is involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. I sent you that question. I'm going to show it to everybody here in just a second. But I'd love for you to come on the show. I'd love to hear you talk about Scientology. I would love to hear about your relationship with Charlie Kirk. I would love to hear about all these things. So you're welcome to come on the show. I will treat you fairly. I'll treat you with respect. But I'm going to hold you to task for what's going on and what's happening here in the world and everything that's happening. And how you constantly insert yourself into the clear lies of Candace Owens and this war that she's waging on Charlie Kirk's legacy, Charlie Kirk himself, Erica Kirk, TPUSA. Be happy to talk about all those things. And we're going to get to all that stuff. I want to say hi to everybody over in the chat. And we have a great guest, one of my favorite guests. And I mean that. I mean that sincerely. One of my favorite guests. We're going to bring him on in a minute, but I want to say hello to Ex-Samurai, Obscure, moderator, all the moderators out there. Thank you guys for everything that you do for this channel. We appreciate you. I promise you I'm going to double your pay tomorrow. I'm doubling your pay. You guys are doing such a great job. Jim O'Hara, Lace, Mary Joey, Bruce, Steve Vacante. I know, Steve, you hit the like button twice. Speaking of which, if you haven't done so already, make sure you like, you subscribe. If you want to support the channel and what we do, down in the description below is a link where you can become a member. It's a couple bucks a month. It goes a long way, helps us out. Also if you're not following us on X, you should be. I'm going to show you some of the content that we're putting out on X. And if on X, there's also a subscriber option. If you'd like to do that, support us that way. I would really appreciate that. And speaking of down in the description below, I'm going to bring on ArtY Trolls. Down in the description below are all his social media sites. Make sure you guys go follow him. He is, again, one of my favorite guests. His real name is not ArtY Trolls. With that being said, to me, he will always be ArtY Trolls. I don't care. You need to just change your name. The same thing with Rage Bronson. If you guys aren't following Rage Bronson, go follow him. I have his real name too. His first name is Rage. His last name is Bronson. That's the end of it. Just change your name and get with the program. So, ArtY, welcome to the show, right?
Oh, how's it going? Thank you so much for that.
No problem, man. Folks, seriously, if you're not following ArtY, he's a truth teller. I love his content. He brings a lot of insight to many different situations, some of which we'll cover tonight. But and he's very educational and entertaining to watch. So I appreciate him and everything he's doing, and I hope there's many more ArtYs out there that are going to come out. And I love doing this. Like I would rather talk to people that are, just getting into the social media game so we can give them exposure, give them a leg up, and promote you guys that are trying to come on the scene. And you're not ruined, right? You're not ruined by all the stuff. Worrying about subscribers. People get they get so audience captured, and hopefully you don't. I know Rage isn't going to. Lisa knows, and many of the other people that we collaborate with and talk to and have on the show regularly. I have faith in you guys to continue to do the right thing, and don't worry about views. Don't worry about any of that stuff. That stuff will come, and if it doesn't, who cares? What matters is what you're saying, and the people that are watching you, they know they're getting the truth, and that it really is all that matters. So just real quick, I know you've been on the show multiple times before, ArtY. For people that don't know who you are, just go ahead and tell them a little bit about yourself, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just, I've been kind of doing this a little while, but, very small audience, just here and there. But I like to get down to the nitty gritty and figure out what exactly the truth is, depending on, what political bombshell goes off that day. And there's so much mud that, gets thrown out there, especially on social media. Everybody thinks they know exactly what's been going on,
Sure.
what the truth is, before any of the information even comes out. So, that's just kind of my thing. I try to piece everything together as it comes out and give people a little bit of an idea on where they should be looking.
Yeah, no, and you're doing a great job, and I love the format of your content. It's great, and I'm just looking over here on X. We have a bunch of folks that are again. We have John Mappin himself, who we're going to talk at least a little bit about tonight. Posting over there. There's a couple of things that I want to cover before we get too deep into this, and I'll just take you guys over here real quick to the X account. So, I'm pulling my bookmarks here. First and foremost, everybody, this keeps coming up, and I've addressed this multiple times in the show through video, separate videos, and through these live streams, and we've talked about this a bunch. And I want to everybody keeps talking, and all this stuff just kind of gets recycled. It goes away, and then it comes back. And here's one of the things that has reemerged again is, Gary, can you explain what happened to Charlie Kirk's shirt? I have. And as a matter of fact, I was the first one that I know of to explain this. And I think this was, a few days to a week after Charlie Kirk's assassination, what I thought took place. And here we have some examples of what's going on here, but I just want to read this portion to you. And this gives you guys an option. You guys can go bookmark this. And when this comes up, because it will come up again, this is something you can share. And it explains everything. And if it doesn't, feel free to, leave a question down in the comments. I'll address it if you have additional questions on this. What caused Charlie Kirk's shirt to move like it did? I explained this about a week after the assassination and dozens of times since. The physics haven't changed. It's straightforward once you understand the mechanics. Just like everything else, ignorant people still try to turn this into proof of some elaborate conspiracy. It's not. The bullet struck the front of his spine, accelerating the spine rearward, right where the necklace chain was resting, on the back of his neck. This massive instantaneous energy transfer, like a high-speed Newton's cradle, launched the chain to the rear at hundreds of feet per second in the fraction of a millisecond. Yank a necklace hard from behind, the front, with the pendant acting as a counterweight, flies upward violently. But I want you to understand, this only moved, it probably moved over an inch, but it moved with such acceleration. It happened so fast that you're not even going to capture it on a 30 frame per second camera, folks. You got to understand that we're dealing with an extremely high speed, energetic event. And you got to kind of put yourself in that mindset. Hundreds of pounds of force were involved. The sudden whip snapped the chain, likely at the clasp, and explains the dramatic shirt movement we all saw. The movement is the pendant being accelerated upward under his shirt. The forces and speed at which this all occurred are understandably hard to imagine for most people. The broken clasp was too big to slide through the cross pendant loop attachment point, which is why the free running portion of the necklace can later be seen hanging off of Charlie's left side. The cross pendant was stuck on his shirt collar. Not complicated, not a squib, not faked, not special effects, not an exploding microphone. You all pushing that are complete imbeciles and grifters. And I just had a conversation with another person pushing that stupid theory. Just ballistics and basic physics. Not proof of a conspiracy. The necklace simply reacted exactly as you'd expect from a high velocity impact. And I have some pictures here. And I know, folks, somebody came into my comments, was like, you shouldn't even be showing this picture. And this is someone on our side. You shouldn't be showing this picture. You could have just explained. Like blogs are dead, right? Like, if you're just going to explain to people, they need pictures. They're fighting against us. They're distorting the truth with pictures and video. We have to show the exact same thing. It's ugly business. I don't like it, but that's what has to be done. That's somebody that's still stuck in like 1990 when it comes to marketing, messaging. Like, you got to have pictures and videos these days. You just got to. And again, I show this. We have the broken necklace. This is a portion of the necklace. It's broken. And this right here is the cross pendant still in motion going up. And then we see, again, from the side here, we see extremely high speed and energetic neck expansion right here. And there's more to it than that. This is just one frame in 30 frames of something that's happening at 2,000 feet per second. And we see the broken necklace here. But that's what happened with this, folks. It's actually the least complicated thing that's going on with this. And just to kind of reiterate what we have going on here, again, he was hit. This necklace is hanging on the back, gets pulled quickly. If you pull a necklace that way, and when we have a cross pendant, it's going to go upward. But imagine that happening with hundreds of foot-pounds of force. That's the energy that was transferred. It's not that hard. And what all these morons are trying to tell you is that, oh, this goes back to the exploding mic theory. The exploding mic theory is the dumbest on the planet for so many reasons, but the main reason is that it defies physics. Folks, I spent a whole career working with explosives. I'm telling you right now, explosives, a shape charge, anything else doesn't negate Newtonian physics. You have to have an equal and opposite reaction. We have a mic that's pinned underneath his shirt with a magnet that supposedly releases some sort of explosive energy or device or project. I don't even, like, I've heard it all. I don't even know how to narrow it down. But we have some sort of explosion that releases enough energy in this direction to kill a man, but it doesn't release enough energy in this direction to rip his shirt, to cause any scorching or charring. The magnet on which it's attached even stays in place. That is a very light force. You're telling me that's not even going to get removed? It is. And then on top of that, the other part of this, folks, you know, again, I've went to UVU. I've talked to over a dozen eyewitnesses. All of them say, every single one that I've talked to, except for one, said they thought that they heard the shot originate from the Lossy building. One person, and it's completely understandable. I'm sure there's more. The way the acoustics of that location are, I don't doubt that some people heard the sound ricocheting off of walls, and it gave them a false perception of direction. I've done this multiple times in combat where we're getting shot at in a mount, you know, an urban area. And man, it's very difficult to figure out where the shots are coming from because the way the sound bounces off of things. So when we look at the evidence, we now know that there's an ATF report, a ballistics report that confirms that we had a 30 caliber projectile. It is broken in pieces, which we knew that going early on. Candace Owens even confirmed that, I think, back in like December when she met with Erica Kirk. So, like, quit trying to turn this into something that's not. And I said this earlier, I've said this 1,000 times in the show. Like, I understand that reality isn't as sexy as fiction. And, you know, these people are so caught up in trying to be in this mystery. Like, I'm going to help solve it. I believe the truth. This is all lies. And, you know, they're just fooling themselves. And then somehow that gets directed at Erica Kirk and TPUSA and now Andrew Colvett and everything else with it. Folks, this is a psychological operation. There are some people that are wittingly involved and some people that are unwittingly involved. But let me tell you something. It's a psychological operation that's meant to destroy TPUSA. It is meant to destroy, ultimately, the MAGA movement. We see what's coming out today where now we have multiple accounts. I'll pull up that in just a minute. We have multiple high-profile people saying, oh, we got to unite the left and the right. How can you unite the left and the right? Like, we are so, there is nothing to unite. This is good versus evil. There is no way to unite communism and globalism with individual liberties and freedom and capitalism. Like, it doesn't work. They're so different. So, they're starting to reveal their hand. And as more information comes out, as lawsuits come out, ultimately when the Tyler Robinson court case comes out, and we actually have those hearings, folks, we're going to see more and more information. And everything that we've told you is going to be proven true. And everything they've been trying to peddle, create, fabricate is going to be proven false. And my hope is that you people remember. I hope you remember who's telling you the truth. I'm not convinced that's going to be the case. I think there's going to be a lot of coping, a lot of denial, because nobody wants to be convinced that they've been duped. That's just a reality of it. So
absolutely.
ArtY, take it away. Sorry, I was
No, you're good. I mean, it's you said it pretty well there. I mean, the fact of the matter is that we could see both microphones that he had. You know, want to get into physics and all that, equal and opposite forces, reactions, whatnot. That microphone should have went off completely the other direction if it were to blow up into, you know, side of his neck. No punctures anywhere else, only one spot, but his shirt, no holes in it. I mean, how is that even possible? That would have been some crazy, crazy accurate tech. But I mean, even Candace, you know, coming out saying that, oh, they think it was an exploding mic. And on the other hand, they also think that it was a foldable AR. Those are two completely different things.
Well, even more. One of the big things that Baron Coleman has pushed, the lying propagandist that he is that Charlie Kirk was electrocuted by his handheld mic at the same time. That's one of the things that he
right.
and then he shows pictures of Charlie's hands from like this blurred. You clearly see oh gosh, what's that distortion called? I'll think of it in a second, but you clearly see like some color fringing on his hand. He's like, look, those are char marks. Those are char. Those are that's proof that he was electrocuted. Like it just doesn't stop.
The amount of electricity they would have had to have pumped through that microphone to get him to grip it instead of it flying out of his hand. I mean, I don't know. And to get him to stay still anyway, like what would even be the point?
Well, they're trying to. What this is a very complex storyline to explain away what we see. And what we see is obviously a gunshot wound to the front. We see a massive energy transfer directly from the front to the rear. And then we see him seize, right? We see him go into that. And then, so what they're saying is that him seizing was actually him being electrocuted.
Yeah,
they have to jump
crazy
through hoops and twist themselves into pretzels to come up with these explanations to explain what actually happened and explain that away and try to get you to look over here at, ultimately
exactly.
UFOs and aliens actually killed Charlie. Jewish aliens, no less. Jewish aliens killed Charlie, and it wasn't Tyler Robinson. And we got to deflect away from the left because that's what this is really about, right? This is really about
absolutely
protecting the left. Folks, we all know what killed Charlie Kirk. Extreme rhetoric is what scholastic oh god, I'm blanking out here, but scholastic terrorism, right? So we actually have just language that is being used to incite people over a course of time, calling Charlie Kirk hateful, a Nazi, all of these things, trying to get somebody out there to do exactly what happened with Charlie Kirk. That's what happened. It's the left. It's the evil left. We saw them celebrated after he was killed. That's what took place. And that's what's happening. And they want to pretend that that's not what's happening. Even Candace Owens herself has said that she thinks that Tyler Robinson was probably involved. Why hasn't she investigated that at all?
Exactly.
Why hasn't she investigated any sort of links? And then tell us if it was Erica Kirk, if it was TPUSA, if it was all these other people that were involved in Charlie's assassination, how do we link Tyler Robinson to the overall plot? She went as far as saying that Tyler Robinson was never on campus. Folks, you are going to see definitive proof that is a lie. And we have it in the new search warrants that came out. They show exactly, they talk about exactly that they have Tyler Robinson walking all over campus, that he was actually in the courtyard even. He was doing pre-attack surveillance. He was confirming and making sure that the target value was still there and that all the vulnerabilities still existed. That's what pre-attack surveillance actually is. And that's what he was doing. So everything that they've said so far, it's going to be a proven lie. And then I don't know how they're going to deal with it.
Well, I mean, I'm glad to see Candace Owens kind of getting a taste of her own medicine for it. She's sitting there saying that everybody has to provide their alibis. It's guilty until pretty much proven innocent with Candace. And now we kind of see what's going on, with the whole Laura Loomer thing. Now it's Candace is going to have to end up bringing up her own alibis. She's going to have to provide alibis for George, for herself, if she's to, have any principles whatsoever, which we know she won't. But, I say holding her to these principles that she has set for TPUSA is probably a good starting point.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I just want to show you guys this real quick so that you guys see it. So Cat Turd reposted it. This is going all over, but Cat Turd said, okay, oh, look, y'all, the memo's out. The most divisive, destructive, dividing, gaslighting, doomer grifters on the planet are now going to bring us together through love and harmony. Seriously, how low does your IQ have to be to fall for this? This is ridiculous. Sean Ryan, there's a constant banter, but very few real solutions. I had a lengthy discussion with Cenk Uygur. And while we may not agree on everything, I do believe that there are areas where people from different sides can come together. Candace Owens, we need to continue to fix the fracture between the left and the right. There is no fixing it. It's irreconcilable. We can't, that's demons and angels coming together. Not happening. We now know what true evil is. It is us against the Epstein class and warmongers. Ian Carroll, both sides are tricked into characterizing each other. The left thinks the whole right wing is Ted Cruz, and the right thinks the whole left wing is Dylan Mulvaney. In reality, the vast majority of regular Americans on both sides are regular and reasonable people. I disagree with that. There's like what you believe as a Democrat, even a moderate Democrat, is so far in opposition to what I know is true. You don't believe in the Constitution. You think that this country was founded on evil principles, founded by evil men. You think that everything that we do in the world is evil, when in reality, what we're doing is maintaining peace throughout the world and making sure that America is America first, and we secure our economic and military benefits and or advantages, and make sure because if we pull in, folks, the world's closing in on us. So, and by the way, this message is being echoed we've heard this for a while, right? We've been hearing the talking point, the false narrative is, I've been seeing in my comments for months now. Oh, you still believe the left and the right aren't the same? Yeah, no, I do. I know they're different. I know there couldn't be a bigger divide. There couldn't be a bigger choice between Donald Trump and someone like Joe Biden. We can either have open borders or we can have a secure country. We can have individual liberty or we can have mass surveillance state and or the Department of Justice being weaponized against Americans all over and political opponents. We can have the social media companies conspire with our government to ensure that certain voices are suppressed and that they're censored, and then other certain voices that they believe in ideologically in conjunction with, that they make sure that those voices are pushed, promoted, and boosted. And we're still seeing that. And there's a reason, besides all the bots, besides all the sock puppets, besides all the foreign influence campaigns that are going on, there's a reason why these people are so popular. And part of it is truth. Like, part of it is just true in that this is human nature. I mean, I guarantee you fiction books sell, outside biographies 10-1. Like,
oh yeah.
So nonfiction 10-1. The same thing with movies. What's going to do better? A Marvel comic movie or, some documentary? We just love stepping out of our reality. But most of us have enough common sense and enough brain power to say, hey, you know what? This isn't real, but this is. And some things are too serious to like venture outside of reality with. And this is one of them, because we're losing our country over it.
Absolutely. I mean, you have Nick Fuentes coming out saying he's voting Democrat. I mean, This isn't a coincidence that all these people are coming together and saying, oh, we should get back with the left. Well, if you guys want to do that, do one challenge first and get them to stop shooting at us. And then maybe we could talk. You know what I mean? Until that happens, though, until they stop going into our churches and just lighting the place up, until they stop literally losing their minds because of all the HRT that they're taking.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point we may be able to get, back with the left and get a little bit of cohesion going. But until then, until they stop doing that, I'm not even really interested in talking that much to them anymore. I mean, they really drew a line with Charlie Kirk.
Well, with Charlie Kirk and the multiple assassination attempts on Donald Trump. I haven't heard.
Too, yeah.
I don't know that I've heard a single Democrat. It's definitely not in mass. I haven't heard a single Democrat condemn the assassination attempts on Donald Trump. I just haven't heard them.
Absolutely.
And like I said, like maybe there's a one or two. I'm sure there's a few out there that have, but like it has not been a mass condemnation from Democrats. Like, hey, we just can't. Like, they want it. They're happy. The only thing they're pissed off about is that it wasn't successful in any of the attempts.
Right.
This is why every single time when it comes to us or a foreign nation, especially with a foreign adversary, they're going to choose the foreign adversary over their own country every single time. Every single time.
Exactly.
It's disappointing. It's sad to see here in the United States, as someone that fought for this country, that loves this country, that would have given his life for his country, that still will. It is sad to see that there are so many dumb Americans that will get tricked by the stupidest things. I never imagined that this whole thing with Candace Owens would have gone as far as it has. And I know I still get questions down in the comments all the time. Gary, like, why are you doing this, Gary? Like, go do gun stuff. I would love to go do gun stuff. Folks, this is a threat to our country like I have never seen before. This is the most effective, sophisticated psychological operation that has ever taken place in social media by a long shot. And if there's not people like me out there, I wish there was more voices so I could go do something else. I would love this, but I can't. I'm not letting this go because it's too serious, and the consequences of this being allowed to be perpetuated and perpetrated on the American people, the consequences are too dire. Like, it's that serious, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Same here. I mean, clearly I would love to do anything else. You know what I mean? Talking about politics it gets pretty boring, but seeing just everybody lose their minds and lose reality. And I've never seen people turn on each other like this. Like, I thought it was bad a year ago. I did not foresee this going this way. I did not see people just ripping each other apart and so quick to fall for this BS. I mean, they're not even fact checking anything. In any of Candace Owens fans don't fact check a single thing she says.
Well, they
I
sure
still
will
have
fact check
people.
you if you say anything against her.
Yeah,
To the nth
exactly.
degree, they'll make stuff up. And the other thing that they constantly do, they won't argue the merits of the discussion. They got to attack you personally. They got to call you a
Yes.
fed. You're paid by Israel. They attack your credibility. And it's obvious as to why, because they don't have an argument against what you're saying.
Exactly. It's the craziest crap I've ever seen. I don't know how so many people allowed themselves to just get tricked. I can't believe they won't question a single thing. It's beyond. It's if they were to just ask the question of, okay, how did you find this out? It would break the spell almost instantly on them. They just got to ask questions. I mean, Candace is all about asking questions, but apparently these guys, her followers aren't.
No. They don't like asking. They don't like questions asked at all. Oh, I wanted to show you guys this too, because this is really important and relevant to what we're talking about and just in general. So a lot of people are out there saying that the police and arrest report where George Farmer went to jail for a DUI is fake. And the reason that they're saying that, I wish I had the other one. I'll try to find it in a minute. But at the top there is a misspelling in Tennessee. It's missing an S. So they've highlighted that. They've highlighted some other irregularities. One of the things saying that he has black hair. Look, police, now that part doesn't bother me at all because police transpose information wrong all the time, right? So if it said BL on his driver's license for blonde hair and he wrote BLK or whatever else just in the midst of it all, things happen. Look, you can go through police reports. We've shown it at other court documents. Oh my God, they misspelled my name in the latest Harpole lawsuit that I was mentioned in multiple times, right? So just so you know, really what those misspellings that people have highlighted trying to say that it's fake actually confirm its legitimacy. And let me show you why, because Truth Be Known just released this. The 2019 Nashville Arrest Report, page 72, proves the spelling errors are built into the official system, not forged. These identical typos in a Supreme Court docket confirmed the form is an authentic government template. Verify the matching error links via the link in the image. But you can see right here, up here, I know it's probably hard for you guys to see, but again, we have Tennessee spelled with one S, not two. And I was telling ArtY before the show, when I was in the military, there were several documents, official documents that we used all the time. We used to make fun of the fact that there were spelling errors all through that. Some PAC clerk, making these forms. It happens all the time in government documents. There's nothing crazy. That doesn't prove anything. What you're trying to say is that the images, look, all of that's going to be proven. And folks, I have some evidence that we're trying to get a hold of that if we can get it and we're in the middle of it and it's looking pretty good, we will definitively prove that George Farmer was arrested for a DUI. So hopefully we'll be able to get that. It's real. All right. And there's a reason that she has to lie about it and say that it was just a fender bender and go on and on about all that. So that's where we're at with that.
Oh, absolutely. Which I'm enjoying every bit of this ride. It's fun to watch her struggle for a bit. She's being put on the back foot. She's the one getting investigated. I wonder how it feels. Can't feel too good.
Yeah, I mean, all I need is an alibi from George Farmer that night. I'm just asking questions. I think it's fair because here, all joking aside, I keep hearing people down in the comments say, well, this isn't even relevant to this. No, it is very relevant. It's extremely relevant to everything that we're talking about because 98% of what people to believe that are Candace Owens followers are based strictly on what Candace Owens has said to be true. So her credibility is 100% at stake and important and relevant to the situation. So if she's lying that George Farmer never got a DUI when actually he did, and there's some more things to go, we'll talk about in a second related to that. But if she's going to sit there and say that it was just a fender bender, and now she's went on to say that George Farmer, that they never even had a Ram 1500 TRX like is what's shown. And we've already seen people that come out that have known George Farmer that have confirmed that he did indeed have that truck. So the fact is that she's a liar. And that is extremely relevant to this entire situation, because we're supposed to rely on anonymous sources that she says exist. We have zero evidence of a single material claim. Zero evidence, folks. We have no evidence that the French Foreign Legion were involved. We have no evidence that there was any sort of assassination plot by the French against Candace Owens. We have no evidence that any sort of meeting down at Fort Huachuca took place, other than Mitch Snow, who's also a confirmed pathological liar. We have no evidence that Brian Harple was there. They're about to get plenty of evidence that he wasn't there, though. Don't you worry about that with this lawsuit. We have no evidence that the Freemasons were involved. We have no evidence that Erica Kirk, TPUSA, or anybody else was involved in any way in knowing, foreknowledge, participating in, conspiring to kill Charlie Kirk. Zero evidence of any of those things. Zero evidence. A bunch of hearsay, a bunch of nonsense, a bunch of gossip, a bunch of, they continue to just try to create these correlations that don't exist, correlate them, and then kind of create a causation. It's the dumbest, most transparent and see-through operation that's ever taken place. And yet so many Americans buy into this thing and will fight you to their death down in the comments, trying to make you out to be the crazy one. Like, I'm not participating in your insanity. I'm just not. Freaking
same here.
retarded.
I mean, it's just really simple. If you're going to question one side, make sure you question the other side. It's really that simple. Do both.
Yeah.
And you will be led to the correct spot. And right now, the correct spot is there's no evidence to corroborate anything that took place outside of what any of the police or the feds or anybody else has said so far. Does it mean that there's not something else that could be going on? No. But what's the point in making stuff up and then going along with it as if that's going to help you out?
Yeah,
it's just going to lead you down a weird path.
The amount of information they've now shared, which is voluminous to say the least. I mean, between what we had in the original charging documents and now what they've released, we've heard come out in different court hearings. And then on top of that, the recently released search warrants that have come out that track his every movement before, during, and after. They know he was sitting there. Matter of fact, he was sitting in the driveway of the house that I flew our drone from till like almost midnight, still trying to get to his rifle. So like they know all this through pinging his phone, through text messages, and in addition to that, they have revealed that they have additional like ring camera footage, so that they know what's going on, folks. They have, if you believe this evidence, and there is no reason not to, because we're going to be shown proof of this evidence in court. The defense is going to be able to get access to all this evidence and determine whether or not it's real. They're going to have their own people look at it. It would be very detrimental for the prosecution to be creating evidence. And my God, there'd be so many people involved, both at the state and local level. Like, to sit here and pretend that this didn't happen and the evidence isn't real is insane. But they have created such a tight picture of what has taken place. It leaves no real room for anything else. The only thing that it does leave room for, which I am completely open to, is Lance having foreknowledge of this. I think it's hard to believe that he didn't, and or other people being involved and possibly even radicalizing Tyler Robinson online through some of these Discord chats and other chats, and then other associations that he may have had with, the trans queer Salt Lake City group, whatever the different gun groups out there. So I'm open to all that. But if you're going to sit here and say that, there was a third shooter, exploding mics, tunnels underneath Charlie Kirk. I mean, it's the stupidity is overwhelming.
Absolutely. I mean, at a bare minimum, Candace could at least go through those leaked Discord messages, which I still don't think she even knows they exist. I think she just completely ignored Turkey Tom's video on that. He had every one of those Discord messages leaked and went over every single one of them. And it's a good, oh shoot, is it like a 2-hour video?
I think, well, he has 2 of them. And I think I think both are about 40 minutes long.
Okay, yeah.
If you haven't seen that, you need to go watch the Turkey Tom videos about Tyler Robinson. Those are extremely illuminating. You need to go watch that. I don't care if you believe Candace or not. Go watch that. At least you have a full picture of what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah, and even when she was talking with the CNN reporter, she was referencing text messages, and she thought those were Discord chats. And it just shows how ignorant of the basics of this is. And by the way, folks, I don't know if she's ever read through the charging documents. When the charging documents came out, that episode, the only thing that she showed was that either she or her producers had created some bullet points from this, and they were very careful what information to reveal and what not to reveal. It was omission, lying through omission, which is one of her favorite tactics. So, and by the way, she confirmed the charging documents. Literally in that episode, she said, hey, I have a source that I've trusted that has come out multiple times. I've also reconfirmed things that this source said with Lance Twig's family or whatever else. And this source revealed that it was the mother that identified Tyler Robinson in the videos. She said that. And then 10 episodes later, she tried to turn around and pretend that that never happened and said, the whole narrative that the media was giving us that, Tyler's parents allegedly identified him. That's not what happened at all. It was a friend that identified them and then called Tyler's parents and said, hey, look, you got to turn him in. None of that's true.
Exactly.
Confirmed by her own source.
I mean, her fans are going to go along with whatever she says at this point. And I've tried talking to so many of them. I've shown so many of them, even on X, like, hey, what about this? And then they go straight to the name calling.
Yeah.
And that's really it. And that's when the conversation just dies. So
yeah.
I don't know what else to do when it comes to those people. I hate to just call them a lost cause, but
I think they are. Look,
yeah.
I was having a conversation. Well, I was talking to Nate Vance. We talked a little bit about this on the podcast yesterday. If you haven't seen that, folks, that was a really good one. So Nate Vance is JD Vance's first cousin. We had a great discussion yesterday. But I was talking to him about that at length on the phone call that we had. And it's like, look, man, I tried at the beginning of this. I thought that we could just all come together, operating in good faith and be diplomatic. And folks, for those of you who've been watching my show, you guys know how diplomatic I was with so many people. And I was like, don't be a jerk. And, I don't want to feel like I've become jaded, but I just realized like there is no appeasing these people, and they take that kindness as weakness and they just use it against you every time. And the other part of it is just understanding your operational environment, right? You got to understand your enemy, and you got to understand what works and what doesn't work. And if you are diplomatic to them and you are constantly trying to offer an olive branch, these are evil forces. These are not normal human beings that you can talk sense into. And by the way, I don't even think that half of them are real. That's another element of this. Yep. Like I'm done pretending. I'm done trying to be nice to these people. I don't think it works. As a matter of fact, I know it doesn't work. And we have to recognize them for we don't sit around and tolerate evil. And this is what they are. And I hate to have to even say that, but I genuinely think that's the truth. Like you gotta draw a line in the sand and no, because what I still do on X is if somebody makes a logical comment or disagreement, right? Mm-hmm. I will respond to them in kind. And I'll be like, hey, here's what I think. If they come back with, okay, Jew, okay, you're paid by the Jews. All right, Bibi Netanyahu's B. I might say something freaking in response to them, also responding in kind, and then they get blocked. I'm not playing this game with these people anymore. They're not acting in good faith. There's no way to have an argument or discussion or debate with someone that's not acting in good faith. And you guys, I'm sure, Art, did you watch the my debate with Ecological Report or whatever his name was, Eco.
Oh yeah.
So
That was
what I will say about Eco is that I think he actually believes what he says. And that's why I decided to go ahead and have that conversation with him. And I thought it was also a really good opportunity to like put on full display, because I think he does it better than anybody. He puts on full display the complete lack of logic and common sense that are the underpinning of his beliefs. And if you listen to what he has to say, like this, I don't care, he basically believes that Charlie Kirk wasn't killed and it's all fake and everybody's in on it and Tyler's in on it and Tyler's parents are in on it. And yeah, Tyler's going to go to jail for the rest of his life, but it's important that Charlie Kirk can fake his death. I don't even know. I don't even know. It doesn't, it only makes sense to certain people's eyes. But regardless of the op, regardless of where they land on the retard board of like, hey, this, I believe in the exploding mics. I believe that the Jews killed them. I believe this. I believe that. The same type of logic gets them to just a slightly different result every time.
absolutely. Not to mention, it would be very awkward to run into somebody who even looks like Charlie Kirk. I don't think I've seen anybody that's like, wow, you kind of resemble him. Good luck with that one. He must be on a private island somewhere.
He had plastic surgery and now he's on a private island. Yeah, he's
yeah, exactly.
He's serving cocktails to people on the beach in the Philippines or something.
Oh man, yeah, exactly. Man, that's just a wild take. I've heard that theory going around a little bit. I'm surprised Candace didn't quite pick up on that one, seeing that she had quite the falling out with Charlie. I guess you can pull on people's heartstrings just a little bit better if you pretend that you were his best buddy, even though you got fired, but then also supposedly quit because Charlie Kirk lied right to your face, but you're still best buddies. That's just kind of a weird take to have to, but.
And you're such good friends that he never once since 2019 had you on his podcast.
Yeah.
He didn't invite you to his wedding. You weren't invited to AmFest 2024 or AmFest 2025. You can't produce text messages that are in the last couple of years. Everything that I've seen so far has been attributed to like 2018 or 2019, including the one that she released today, which is a weird text message to begin with. I mean, there's no timestamps. Like, I need to see some metadata from those text messages, don't you? I mean, don't you think that's fair to confirm?
Oh, absolutely.
Make sure that it's real. I think that's fair. I mean,
that's all she asks for.
We're just asking questions.
Exactly.
So I think that's fair. Now, you just did a couple of videos. One of them involved John Mappin, amongst other things. Let's talk a little bit about. I've filibustered a long time here. I want to hear some of the things that you've been working on and some of the things that you can kind of enlighten people on that you're working on. Maybe you can share some things you're working on now that you haven't produced yet, but it's coming out. So, kind of take it away.
Absolutely. Well, I know. So I went over some of the stuff about John Mappin on my video, Candace Owens Snaps on Ben Shapiro and Laura Loomer. And it was just kind of interesting because I don't understand this guy's angle. He's talks in riddles, it kind of seems. Let's see. The tweet that he mainly said, I'll just kind of pull it up here. So this is kind of the weirdest. I don't even know how to describe it. He retweets Candace Owens. And he's saying like there's a reason Charlie Kirk and those at TPUSA executives closest to Charlie that he trusted hate Ben Shapiro. And there's all these TPUSA workers that are either coming out and making fun of people like us, or they're all sitting there. They're still working for TPUSA, but they're all on Candace Owens' side. But none of them come out and say a word about any of the stuff going on. And he goes as far to say, responding to somebody who essentially said Candace is describing what she's done to Erica. That's kind of a weird out of context thing to say. But he responds to him by saying, has it ever crossed your mind that Candace might be protecting Erica? I guess calling her a murderer, putting a target on her back, getting all these people who, I mean, just imagine if you're somebody who's a little hot-headed and you really love Charlie Kirk, what kind of feelings would you be feeling knowing that there's a woman out there who just ended that man's life and she's walking around free in his image, taking over his company, doing all that stuff? I wonder how most people would feel about that. Going around telling people that she's a Black Widow or that she should go ahead and write a book that if I did it, just like OJ. I imagine at least probably one out of the millions of people in Candace Owens' audience would probably be angry enough to maybe want to do something about that. I don't know, maybe leak her security detail or something. Maybe leak her hotel information or what vehicles she may be renting. It couldn't possibly happen, right? And then John Mappin here is going, well, she's doing it to protect Erica. That's a crazy take. I don't even know how to just wrap my mind around that take, to be honest. It's almost psychotic. So I kind of go over that in that video, the Candace Owens snaps on Ben Shapiro and Laura Loomer. I did a Candace video today for the most part, and it was hard to get through her video. Let's say that. I had to pre-watch it because she talks about nothing. She just gloats about Ben Shapiro. Apparently his company's just dead. Daily Wire's gone now forever. And, he just had to cut like 60% of his workforce with no evidence to back any of that whatsoever. It's just some of the wildest takes that I go through. And, we have a fun ride. At least we go on that roller coaster ride together. It makes it bearable. But it's tough to listen to Candace Owens. I mean, like I said, her newest video, she doesn't talk a thing about Charlie Kirk. No new evidence. In fact, when was the last time she even brought forward any new evidence about Charlie Kirk even being betrayed or anything? Thought she wasn't going to stop until she solved this. I guess drama is a heck of a lot more important. It's worth pumping the brakes on that train to address a little bit of drama. I don't know.
No, I agree. Well, she has to continue to create drama, right? But I do like the fact that she is on the defensive for the first time, and now she's going to sit here and pretend that she is welcoming discovery. I am so glad that Brian Harpole is suing her. So glad. And I can't wait to see him prove that he was not at Fort Huachuca. I can't wait to see that he can prove all of her other allegations are just completely false. He's going to have multiple eyewitness testimony that they're going to be able to depose. And ultimately, if they go to trial, and I think they ultimately will, and I hope they do, man, I would spend a lot of money to pay per view that freaking trial. And if it does go to trial, folks, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I am there watching the whole thing. But, all the things that she has said that he's been involved in the assassination. I don't know all the specifics of everything that she said off the top of my head, but we could go through the actual defamation lawsuit, which I have right here. We go through there, and he's going to be able to get so many different eyewitnesses. They're going to refute everything that she's claimed. They're going to be able to prove without a doubt that he was not at Fort Huachuca. I know he wasn't at Fort Huachuca. She's toast on this. The only question remains is whether or not the court is going to decide that he's a public figure or not. And that does change the calculus. And as a matter of fact, I was just talking to the Beard lawyer. He went over he's a completely independent guy. He has no association with any of this stuff. I'd love to have him come on, and we're going to go over, and he's agreed to. We're going to go over the lawsuit. He's going to tell us the pros and cons, the strengths and weaknesses of this lawsuit. What you shouldn't do is listen to Baron Coleman's assessment of the lawsuit. He doesn't have a good track record with defamation suits. The only defamation suit that I'm aware of that he was even participating in is in when he represented McGinnis against the Southern Poverty Law Center and lost. I think it's on appeal, but he lost. So, who cares what his assessment of that is? He doesn't have a good track record with it. He's clearly not a good lawyer. He'd still be a lawyer. It's like if you have a law firm and you're not making more money doing that than you are. Oh, and by the way, he abandoned being a lawyer, and then he became a talk show radio host, and now he's a podcaster that basically rides the coattails of Candace Owens. And look, I got to give it to Barron. Like, he has a gift for gab, right? He is that used car salesman through and through. He is good at convincing people bullshit, and he'll do it. He'll do it. He'll sit there and he'll, like, you know, he's trying to tell people that Tyler Robinson was actually in custody on September 11th at 6:25, when all of the records indicate that he didn't get there till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and that 9 o'clock at night. And then he wasn't deposed, or they didn't try to interrogate him until 6 p.m. on the 12th. But because it says 6 p.m., when they read him his Miranda rights, folks, any lawyer will tell you, and I've talked to several, does not mean you guaranteed he was Mirandized multiple times before he sat down with that interrogation. But this was an opportunity, a gap in information, an information void. He seized upon that. He exploited it like the slimy piece of shit lawyer that he is, and then turned it into some sort of narrative that doesn't exist. And people bought it hook, line, and sinker. Like, oh yeah, this like, I don't even know what that proves. Like, let's say that's true. Like, what does that prove? Well, I guess what it proves, or what he's trying to state, is that, you know, again, he's trying to undermine the credibility of the investigation and undermine the credibility of the official narrative, because everybody's lying, and now we have proof that they're lying, when in reality, he's the one that's lying. So, you know, we have that going on.
Not to mention, officers these days, I mean, they got to cover their rear end.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to be the one officer that was like, oh, you know, did I read him his Miranda rights? Did anybody else do it before? Now let's just go ahead and get it taken care of right now. Then it's covered. I know that I did it.
Well,
therefore,
you can watch an episode of Cops. They read the guy their Miranda rights when they're putting him in the car. And then on top of that, once they get to the station, if they're doing an interview and they're recording it, they read their Miranda rights again. I mean,
exactly.
They could be read their Miranda rights 50,000 times. They want to make sure that it's recorded, it's on record before they actually start an interrogation. And that's what took place.
Exactly.
And they're trying to turn it into something. He's basically saying that's proof that was when he was first arrested. That's not proof of anything. And anybody with 2 brain cells between their ears knows that's not true.
Exactly.
We'll hit a couple of super chats real quick and take some questions. Jenn, the producer, was basically saying that she is, I was like, well, I wonder where she's at. She's still in the ER. I don't know exactly what she's in the ER trying to get out of here. Hope you're okay, Jenn.
Absolutely.
I should probably check my text message. Perpetrator is also on page 2. Yep. The consequences are dire. They will try to take our guns if they get power. This is biblical. You look into having Joel Richardson on. I have not. It's a question. I don't know who Joel Richardson is, but we can look him up. And if he is somebody worth having on, I'll have him on. The man knows his stuff with biblical prophecy. I am relentless. I'll check it out. Yeah, so it's much more than that. Look, if we lose the midterms, we are going to lose the 2020 election. They're going to have 2 years with the Democrats in power that are going to be campaigning nonstop against Donald Trump. They are going to they're going to commit all the lawfare that they did the first time against Donald Trump in many different ways. You can bet he's going to be impeached. They've already said that they're going to get rid of the filibuster. So nothing's going to get passed. They're going to be able to run on the fact, and all of the halal right, the woke right, are going to be talking about how feckless Donald Trump is because he can't get support. Like, these people don't even understand how our systems work. That's one of the things I realize more and more. Like, when they sit there and say, well, why hasn't Donald Trump done this? Why hasn't Donald Trump passed the SAVE Act? Why hasn't Donald Trump, like, none of these things are within his power. Do you not understand that we have, 3 branches of government, and that to pass legislation, like, Trump can't just lower taxes tomorrow or do anything. Like, they don't understand this. Like, he's done a lot within his capabilities. And unfortunately, we do have a lot of people on the right that are roadblocks to his agenda too. The fact that we haven't passed the SAVE Act is BS. I agree with everybody. One big win that we did have because of Donald Trump and because he got the right people in the Supreme Court was that we did have gerrymandering kind of addressed from a racial perspective. They've been gerrymandering based on race for I don't know how long, but that was just ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. And it happened because of the people that Donald Trump was able to get into the Supreme Court his first term. So
And what else is going to happen after we lose 2028? They will have gotten rid of the filibuster and they will pack the courts. We will have the Supreme Court completely changed. And then it's done with. And then it's done. Oh, and by the way, what's going to happen for the next 2 years is all of the different judges that Trump wants to appoint, they are not going to get confirmed. And then we're going to have this huge vacancy of federal judges come 2028 when a Democrat's in charge. And now, God forbid, we have the House and Senate ran by Democrats. Folks, they're going to pack even the lower courts with these activist judges that are going to legislate from the bench. Folks, do you not see what's at stake? Do you not see what's happening in this country and what the whole op with Candace Owens and all of these other people, Ian Carroll, Baron Coleman, all of these people, they are counting on the destruction of this country.
Exactly. I mean, it's eerie whenever Fuentes was like, vote Democrat because I want to punish the Republicans.
Yeah.
You're not punishing anybody who got legislated into office. You're punishing the American voter.
Yeah.
That's exactly who he's going to be punishing. And he does it with an honest to God smile on his face. It's interesting to see that happen, And as soon as he did, I predicted, I was like, Candace Owens is going to follow suit. And now we're seeing that starting to slow roll. She's got to be a lot more careful because her audience isn't an audience of extremists like Fuentes is anyway. They have no problem going into an authoritative, dictatorship on that side of the aisle. Candace Owens has got a lot of normie wine moms that are watching her channel. And they're going to be a lot harder to kind of pull to that side of the aisle. But they are getting pulled to that side of the aisle, and it's scary to watch.
Those people will vote any which way that Candace Owens tells them to. And the reason that they're so captured, people that were reasonable people back in September, the reason that so many of these people are now so captured and have done a 180 ideologically is because she has affirmed the worst tendencies in people, and especially as it pertains to women. And Jordan Peterson has talked about this thousands of times, talking about how women basically they're jealous. They want to character smear people. They want to character assassinate people. Look, and men have negative tendencies too. And by the way, Nick Fuentes and Andrew Tate and some of these other people, they definitely move toward the worst of men, without a doubt, and affirm those feelings and tendencies. And Candace Owens is the exact opposite, or the exact same, but for women. And so they get caught up in this and they're just, feeding the worst parts of themselves. And it feels good. It feels good to eat ice cream all the time. It feels good to sit around and do drugs. It feels good to sit around with a controller in your hand and waste your life gaming. No offense to any guys out there, but yes, I am offended. I want you to be offended. Get out and do something productive. It feels good to do all these things that aren't actually good for you and aren't productive. And those are the things that we should have some self-discipline, mental discipline, physical self-discipline, and go do the right things so that we can live productive, genuinely happy lives, not just appease moments of I don't know, just brain rot, right? I mean, it's just like sitting around and developing the worst parts of our character.
Exactly. I think people need to get offline. I think they need to absolutely go outside, take a hike in the woods. I mean, it's where I spend most of my days. Nighttime, I'm sitting here practicing these things. I haven't touched video games in about 6 months. And it's amazing once you realize how much time you've actually wasted. I mean, having kids helps. Go have kids. If you want to feel like you're being very, very productive, man, there is nothing more productive than running around with your kids. I can tell you that.
Well, that's true. But again, that's the reasonable among us. I mean, there's lots of parents out there that don't let kids get in the way of them just wasting their lives away. Look, this is why communism, socialism is so attractive to so many people. They get into the mindset of, number one, jealousy and greed. It's like they see these people that are successful. They have no idea the amount of discipline and sacrifice it took for them to, and how much hard work it took for them to get there. And by the way, even if it's the son or daughter and they've inherited a lot, like somebody along the way paid the cost of that success.
Yes.
So like, I want my kids to have a leg up. I want to be a successful person and make sure that I work and provide for them so that they can have they can start with more than I had. And I think a lot of people feel that way, but they look at those people and they're like, you know what? It's not fair that he has 5 houses and he goes on nice vacations and he has all this expensive stuff. I should have that too, but I just don't want to work to get there. And that's why COVID, like this, you talk about a psyop.
Yeah.
Again, perpetuated by the Biden administration and the left, a little bit by Trump, but not nearly as much as like those things that Trump did were sensible considering what we knew. It got crazy under Biden, right? So now they're given this mass amount of money, paying people to stay home. And surprise, surprise, most of these people have never re-entered the workforce. They found out that they could live in poverty in comfort. And that's what they're going to do, because that's what we as humans, that's our natural tendency. Like we, and a stationary object wants to stay stationary. They're not going to do anything. They're like, you know what? I got enough money. I got food on the table. I got enough to live. I have a roof over my head. I have electricity. I got a cell phone. Man, there's a lot of people. That's all they're ever going to aspire to. That's all they want. Yeah. And if that's what you pay them, and by the way, and then say, hey, you know what? All we need is your vote. They're going to vote like that. That's why communism, socialism is so attractive to so many of these worthless people.
Exactly.
Matt K. Actual says, so many Candace lies debunked, never makes a dent in her credibility, like the French planes, or the Egyptian planes, rather. Her sycophants don't care. X put a community note on Loomer's DUI post today. Farmers DUI won't change anything. No, well, I think it will for some. But here's what it does strategically and tactically. It puts Candace in defense, which we haven't seen her really on defense. Between that and the Brian Harpole lawsuit levied this week, I'm telling you, she's rocked back a little bit, and we need to keep her. We need to keep her on defense. We need to start pulling all the stops out and going after the way that she's gone after Erica Kirk.
Absolutely.
Bearded Lawyer is actually his name, but that's okay. Bearded Lawyer will be on Tuesday, 5/12. All right, so 7 days from now.
Nice.
Next week. John Mappin is in the live chat. John, I'm going to send you a link. You want to come on? I don't want anybody else to use this link except for John Mappin. So if he's in the live chat, here you go, John.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Come on. I'm sending this out. Nobody else get it. I'm going to be able to see you. Come on. If it's not you, then if it's not John Mappin, I'm booting you off.
Well, that sounds like a good time to me here.
John,
I've never talked to a Scientologist before.
I have. It's not very interesting. I gotta be honest with you. Lord Xenu in the chat.
Yeah. Oh man, let's see. I didn't.
You can't call Candace a journalist or a conspiracy theorist. Those terms are too fancy. She's a gossip columnist in the modern day tabloid.
Man, yeah. I mean, you're not a journalist if all you do is sit at home and read emails.
No, if you're not a journalist, if you never leave, you're definitely not an investigative journalist, especially if you never leave your studio.
Exactly.
She's never done anything that would constitute an investigation whatsoever. Having an email open so that people can send you a bunch of freaking tips, your tip line, all right, that's not investigative journalism. That's sitting on your ass creating content. That's content farming. That is getting people to do all the work for you. That is making sure that people never see a full picture of what actually took place when it comes to the facts. That's what's going on. So
exactly.
The fact that she's never been to UVU, the fact that she has never had on eyewitnesses to talk about what's going on, and have a bunch of them. Everybody's going to have a slightly different take on what took place. Have a bunch of them. We've never seen, like, she has so many resources. She's worth millions of dollars. She could be hiring a slew of private investigators. She could be hiring a bunch of freaking, former FBI, whatever,
Oh yeah.
going out there, finding information, collecting intelligence, collecting information, and coming back with it. She has never done any of those things. All the things, like, imagine all the things, if you had 10 million bucks, ArtY, and you really wanted to get down, you wanted to get at the bottom of the Charlie Kirk assassination. Like, think about the different resources that if you were acting in good faith, you would employ to make sure and deploy to make sure that you got the God's honest truth. But instead, we start attacking Erica Kirk's mother. Like, what in God's name did Erica Kirk's mother, dying mother, have to do with any of this? What did we find out from that? Number one, if you were just trying to smear her, it didn't work. If you were objective and you watched that entire series and you listened to what Candace Owens said about Lori Francois, I don't know how to say her last name.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing. Oh my gosh, she has a bunch of LLCs. Oh my gosh, she's an entrepreneur. And like, we don't even know the information that she presented. Like, I don't know if that's true. I don't believe any of that stuff. Like, I'd want to see that stuff for myself. Don't just throw me a link chart of a bunch of different LLCs and say, hey, this is what's going on. And then, by the way, what nefarious activity does that even point to? We all know the real reason. The real reason is, and she said it on her show, after she came back from meeting with Erica Kirk, she said, the only time that I saw Erica get emotional was when she brought up her mother. And that's what she decided to target. When she decided to freaking pull out all the stops and she wanted to hurt Erica, she did almost the entire series where her mother wasn't not mentioned once. And a lot of the series was dedicated to actually attacking her family and ultimately her mother, her dying mother. Like, what does that have to do with anything? What did that prove? How was that relevant? Nothing.
Exactly. And, for as often as Candace will bring up like HIPAA and stuff like that, the best thing that she could possibly say was, well, they wouldn't confirm if at that medical facility if they were even there that day. And I'm like, they can't do that. None of the staff there can confirm if anybody was there that day. It would be a HIPAA violation. And it's just silly to see her even try to remotely use that as evidence, because that wouldn't be good enough for any other standard that, if it was put on her. Especially with the whole, like, well, what Charlie Kirk's surgeon ended up doing a HIPAA violation, apparently, but she didn't even prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, or didn't even prove anything at all. The surgeon didn't even say what they had claimed he had said. There is no evidence out there whatsoever. And she just ran with that. She's like, well, they just lied about the surgeon because he wasn't going to do a HIPAA violation. It's like, really? But you expect Erica Kirk's, how would I even describe? You would expect the health facility that Erica Kirk's mother was at to give you information directly, though. It's so weird how these little things Candace will always constantly contradict herself.
No, she's constantly contradicting herself. And the other thing that she constantly does, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. She'll present certain things at the beginning as like, oh, well, maybe this, maybe this, maybe this. And then like 20 minutes later, when you've kind of forgotten that was never kind of confirmed, she goes back and references that as something that she proved. We already know that's a fact because we already talked about it. That was a fact that we talked about. Like, no. You didn't even say it was a fact because you know it's not a fact. But people, again, it's gish galloping. People are just inundated with information from her and nothing is confirmed. And the next thing you know, we're referencing those unconfirmed, whatever opinions, speculation, or anything else as established facts. So now we're going to start connecting dots that never existed, but we've pulled those dots into existence. And now we're going to start connecting them and we're going to get to the bottom of all this.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know how people don't see it. That's the thing. It's like, it's so obvious that I just don't even know how people don't see it. Gray, I sent you a link down in the chat if you'd like to jump on. We'd always love to have you on, buddy. Don't get black-pilled. Revival is happening all over. Mario Murillo, MTGs and more, meetings and more. Brandon Lake just filled stadiums across the country for 49 nights. Volunteer to fix elections with me. Unite for freedom. I'm with you, Coach Kimberly. Coach Kimberly, anytime you want to come on with Jenn, we'll have you on too. That is something that I definitely want to start kind of redirecting our focus and attention. This is important. It's going to continue to be important, but I do want to see how we can use this platform to make sure that we're getting out the vote. So if you guys have ideas other than what we're doing, like I say it every night, like, hey folks, we got to go vote. We can't lose the midterms. And then to Kimberly's other point there is I don't think what we're seeing on X especially, but social media reflects reality. I think we're in much better shape than everybody thinks that we are or tries to present it. And I hope that's true. But with that, I almost don't even want to say that because I don't want people to get complacent. Like, I want you to think that we're losing big time as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not saying I'm doing that because I want to deceive you. I'm just saying I don't want people to get complacent. We see what's being said on social media. We see, hopefully all of you have your eyes wide open to the op that's taking place. And hopefully, like, you're not being deceived by all this stuff and that you're going to go vote for Republicans and conservatives and hopefully the best conservatives. And look, we have a lot of problems in the conservative party. We have a lot of Republicans. The biggest problem that we have Republicans is they don't contribute enough, right? That's my biggest problem. Like, they don't vote the way that we would want them to. They don't support as much as that we would want them to support. That being said, like, if that's the worst thing, if that's the lesser of two evils, I'm okay with that because I'd rather not get anything done and not get the agenda pushed through that I would like to see compared to getting their agenda pushed through, because they will. And they'll use any means necessary to push through. And then, like, even when they're using executive orders and things like that, when we have Donald Trump become president or another Republican become president, they rescind those executive orders. And next thing you know, there's judges saying that is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. It's wild to see these judges legislate from the bench. Dan Bongino was talking about this today. Like, the legislative branch has by far the judicial branch by far has become the most powerful branch in our three-legged stool of a government. Like, they dictate policy, and it's wild because that's not how it's supposed to be. They're supposed to go by the Constitution, by the current laws, and they legislate from the bench left and right. They are assuming the role of president when it comes to combat operations, when it comes to immigration policy, things that the Constitution gives wide freedom and birth and his ability to operate, the president. It's very clear and cut, but yet they are constantly binding him up. I just saw Gray jump in and they jumped out, probably having some sort of technical difficulties. But, like we got a lot to lose, people. And, I hope we don't. I hope we don't. Absolutely. I hope people understand what's at stake. And, it's the other thing, going back to, we were talking about Fuentes earlier. He's gotten so popular because every now and then he says something interesting, but let's be real. He's like a shock jock in that he uses a lot of racist rhetoric. I mean, he drops the N-word on his show all the time with nobody holds him accountable for that at all. And he gets played all over the place. So he gets a lot of attention, and he's like appealing to the racist among us. But yet at the same time, he wants the left to win so that our borders can be wide open. Because that's another thing, folks. Like, 2028, the borders are coming open again. We're going to be invaded by immigrants, the worst of them. So I don't know.
Well, I do want to definitely point out, because first of all, it has just been a little over a year since Trump got into the presidency. Remember the first 2 years of Donald Trump's first term? They were rough. Gas prices didn't start coming down until literally after he had lost the midterms, but his policies were coming into effect. It takes time. He doesn't write down on a piece of paper and then the economy flip on its head. It's impossible to do that. Everything has to take effect. Things have to slowly work themselves out after he gets his policies enacted. And what happened immediately? They blamed Trump for all the high gas prices, literally the first year and second year of his first term. Year 3 comes in, gas prices plummet. Things are going really good in the economy. Food prices are coming down. And then you see the Krasenstein brothers coming out saying, well, the president doesn't control the gas prices. No, this is all from Obama's term. They're finally hitting. It only took 6 years from Obama to finally come into the modern day. And then COVID hits. Just coincidence, big coincidence. Somehow magically, there was a bat that flew into a crazy wet farm of meat.
And the cloaca.
We all get COVID. Yeah, exactly. Why? Yeah, gross. Oh man, you found one of my favorite words. No,
It's fun to say. It's like hyperbole.
Exactly.
It's fun to say.
And then, of course, as everything starts happening and the economy starts to kind of go through the crapper with, every single blue city and state getting shut down, it's Trump's fault. Somehow Trump's fault. Trump caused it all to happen now. So when Trump does good, you're going to see very little people acknowledging that Trump did good. Anything that goes bad in the economy at all, it's 1,000,000% Trump's fault, though. And that's how I'm seeing a lot of people now on the right starting to act. And it's like, does the dude not get more than a year? Like, we had to fight 4 years of Biden.
Yeah.
We finally get Trump in there and we're not willing to give him more than a year to fix this mess.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of damage Biden caused to this economy, it was the worst time. Like, I know I lost my job thanks to Biden and his COVID rule and all that. They got rid of me because I refused to get the poke. That was rough times.
Yeah.
Trump's back. Things are rough. Trump said himself, this will be a roller coaster. What did everyone else expect? It's just crazy how quick people forget.
It is crazy how people forget. And what was interesting in the first term, and we got Gray Hughes up in the chat.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
We got full echo.
Oh, oops. Hold on. I got to fix the...
Good choice on the NT1.
I'm gonna mute you for just a second, Gray.
That's good now. I just got rid of the echo. There was an echo.
Perfect. Yeah, no, going back to what you're saying, it is crazy how quick people forget. And people forgot the first term, we clearly had this operation that was being run against Trump. It was Russia, Russia, Russia. We had the Steele dossier. We had, the DOJ and the intel community feeding the Steele dossier to the New York Times, amongst others. And then we had the IC community referencing that intel that they fed to the New York Times as an additional source to confirm that information so that they could end up getting warrants against Trump, FISA warrants against Trump. And mostly, and then of course we had all the lawfare that was taking place against Trump and they were trying to impeach him. Generally speaking, though, we didn't see a fractured, I think that actually brought the right together. We saw what was taking place, right? It was very obvious to us and we weren't fooled by it. Now, we voted all of those clowns out of office that perpetuated all this stuff. James Comey, Christopher Wray, like we have a whole new cabinet. We have a whole new administration, and they're executing the exact same op against Trump. Now it's Israel controls, Israel. It's all the stuff about the economy, all the same things that they were saying. Those people are just now out of office, and they are controlling them with the marionettes strings, the same exact op. And for some reason, because of the way that the Biden administration and the Biden government abused the American people's trust, now they're like, oh God, they must be right. All these people that are running up against Trump, now we're just going to believe it and we're going to fracture and we're going to allow the people that were trying to defeat Trump in his first term actually defeat him in his second term. And now we're going to have the globalists and the leftists jump in, and it's okay and it's better and the country's better for it. Like, I don't even know how that makes sense. What's your thoughts, Gray?
That there's just so many people with the verified Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
That's all I ever say. It's like, it doesn't matter what he does, it's something bad, So it's like at some point you just got to realize that that's just what they're going to be. It's irrational. It's really frustrating, to be honest with you. It's like, I think what so many of the things that are going on are amazing that he's been doing, and yet you you see people, the way they view it is it's sort of like the same thing like that Candace Owens viewers are like. You know, you present something that's totally makes sense and factual, and all of a sudden they twist it into some ridiculous reality that's not really a reality, but that's their reality.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's really frustrating for me to see.
Well, excuse me. You know, and we've talked about this before, but it's worth repeating. It's like during the first Trump administration that they used a lot of rhetoric against him. Again, I think it was intentional to try to, you know, elicit a response. We'll just say it like that. What ultimately ended up happening, we now have 4 to 5 different assassination attempts on Trump on record. And when Nazi and Hitler wasn't strong enough, they now had to up it up to even what it's worse. And by the way, it's what they're calling Erica Kirk now too, is that he's a PDF, she's a PDF. And not only is she guilty of conspiring and knowing about the assassination attempt against Charlie Kirk, and that she did nothing about it. And, you know, some people are even saying that she is the mastermind behind it to some extent. On top of that, that's not enough. Candace Owens had to go and smear her as a child sex trafficker with zero evidence of that whatsoever. Like, my God, what does it take for the people out there to be like, okay, this is enough. Like, this is enough. Now you're saying not only she killed her husband, but now she actually is guilty of child sex trafficking as well.
But that was a long time ago, right? Like, people should have been saying this a long time ago. They should have been saying, "Oh, okay, well, you had me for the Egyptian plane," but then all of a sudden, okay, now there's this one, Fort Huachuca, blah 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 blah, and after a while, it gets so ludicrous that it's amazing. But people keep feeding on it. To them, it's like a series on television. Wait for the next episode where we're really close, you guys. I mean, how many times has she said? Remember that one video they put out there? We're really close.
We're close.
Oh,
We're
man.
getting closer, folks. We're close.
Has Milk Bar done like a compilation of every single time she says we're getting closer?
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that's very funny. But they should have the what is that song? We're halfway there.
Journey.
Yeah, they should, yeah.
I don't know if it's Journey.
Not Journey. Who? Shoot, how can I not think of it? They're like one of the most famous bands. That's crazy. But yeah, we're halfway there. It's that should be just repeating in the background. That'd be great stuff.
I want to play that video if I can find it real quick. But you know, that is one of the things that you
Bon Jovi. There you go.
That's right.
Oh yeah, Bon Jovi.
Somebody type it in the chat there.
But it is wild.
You'd think I would know.
How with all that hair?
How in the world could I have dropped that ball?
That's going to be your sponsor. Like you're going to get sponsored by some sort of hair product. You're going to be like, all right, now it's time to break from our sponsors. It's going to cut to a picture of you in the shower. I regret saying that.
The keyboard.
Weird.
No.
Yeah, that was
right.
That was TMI.
But you know, it is crazy to see the halal right, the woke right, that they actually have Trump derangement syndrome worse than the left ever did. And I'll be honest with you, I think they are a bigger threat than the left ever was. Like I have never seen the amount of vitriol and just crazy spewed in the comments. I've always talked about conservative politics. I've been called it all, Nazi, a fascist, all the things that we all as conservatives get called. And I have never I've never been doxxed until this happened. I never had, right after doxing, never had my property damaged. I never had pictures of my wife and kids thrown all over the internet. You know, and then them taking a picture of me from one of my Facebook posts when I was in the hospital where I had nose surgery. They took a picture of my wife, planted it next to that, and said Gary's wife beats him up all the time. Like my wife's like 110 pounds. And these people just they love this stuff. They know it's a lie, but they just spread it all over, and they just don't care. And by far, the Candace cult is far crazier and a bigger threat to society than the far left ever was. At least on social media and the perception that they give.
Well, I think you guys are, you're treated similar, like a derangement syndrome towards you. See, like I have there's a huge following of people that have gray derangement syndrome. I mean, they literally like make videos about me and they type in stuff, and it's all just the way they view how I talk. Because here's the thing is, how you've become, Gary, like you've been more like you would tell me, oh, I just let people, but after a while you start hearing the craziness. You end up just saying, screw that. You guys are idiots. And then you start,
Were you here at the beginning of the show? Right at the beginning?
I missed the beginning. Yeah.
So I was talking about that. I was like, look, like for those of you who've been watching me for a long time, I tried to be diplomatic about this. I tried to like make room for other ideas and was trying to bring us all together. I was operating in good faith, thinking that all these clowns were operating in good faith too. And I said that. And you remember it. Hell, I've lectured you on it. I've been like,
yeah.
And you could probably dial, reel it in a little bit. But regardless,
yeah, I still could. Yeah.
The point remains, like, I've been there, man. Like, I tried to give as much space to these people and to be as kind to these people and to give them like, hey, okay, you believe differently than I do. The benefit of the doubt that you're operating in good faith, but like they just attack you. Like it's a religion to them, and there's no talking sense to them. And
yeah,
once I see that, I'm just done with you because.
But imagine I've been dealing with that same type of mentality for 8 years, because probably the first year I was like, oh yeah, listening to ideas, and then I realized I'm a true crime YouTuber, so like most of the cases are. You get these whole fringe of people who turn it into every case into a conspiracy.
Yeah.
And then after a while, you just go, "What? You're an idiot, man. Get the hell." Like maybe I don't need to call him an idiot, but at the same time, it's like it's just after a while, isn't it just necessary almost? I mean, it's crazy. So over the years, I've developed like a cult of hate. So maybe you can just not quite get where I was and maintain. I don't know, but. It's hard.
I don't know that it changes it, because here's the thing. Even when I was being all nice and kind to everybody, and trying to promote discourse, like I still had the Gary derangement syndrome happening. I was still being called before I made the first video about Candace Owens, and all I was doing was debunking palm guns and flying drones and tunnels and things like that. Trying to like separate the wheat from the chaff so that we can have a clear picture of what the truth is. That was kind of my process and the way that I thought about this. Even then, I had Baron Coleman on his show. I'd never even heard of this guy, basically doing some crazy Google trends and saying, oh, look, Gary Melton was searched in Israel, prior to, and by the way, Baron Coleman was too. I pulled up the same Google that night. I was like, I don't even know who this guy is. Let me look Google's trends like him. And that's before I knew the first thing about Google Trends and what BS it actually is.
Yeah.
From there, he was like months and months ago, before I said the first thing about Candace Owens, he was already trying to undermine my credibility and say that I had sold out to Israel. That was the implication of this whole thing. And so he's been on this like campaign against me before I even know who he was. And so like I am not sure. And I had all these people saying, I was paid by the Jews and I was a Fed and all this other stuff. So like, I think most of the time, the results are going to be the same. Now, what I have been guilty of, and you guys probably seen me on X, is I'm going through a chat and I'm going through comments and I'll respond real quick. And basically it's friendly fire. Someone's like, hey, he's on our side, and that's not what he meant. I'm like, okay. I mean, it happens sometime, and I always apologize when I do that. And you guys forgive me and give me grace. Just understand I'm getting thousands of comments, and most of them are not very, very kind, and most of them are bots, by the way. So, but just for the haters out there, nothing's going to change. Like, you can say whatever you want. Like I am so immune to this point. There's nothing you can say that hasn't been said about me. And I haven't changed my direction of where I'm going with this. Nothing you could say is going to change me. I'm going to continue to do exactly what I'm doing. You can't demoralize me. And that's what this is. This is also they're boosting these people, but it's also an attempt to demoralize opposition. That's what they think they're going to do. Folks, I've been shot at. I've been blown up. You think a little, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes comments down there piss me off, but all it does is steal my resolve. Like, I'm just going to keep going. And now you've given me that much more motivation. You think I'm going to wave a white flag and then just like, all right, guys, you guys are right. I'm done doing this. I don't care. I don't care if I dwindle down to 0 followers. I'm going to still be up here doing exactly because it's what I know to do. It's the most effective way.
And it's right, too.
It's the correct thing to do, regardless if it's popular, regardless if it's financially beneficial. I don't care. I don't care. I'm doing it.
It is frustrating. You got to admit, like, it's frustrating. Like, whenever I cover these cold cases, it's just, you get like 100 people watching. But if you cover the cases that everybody's talking about, oh, hey, and then all of a sudden 3, 4, 5, 600 people come in. It's weird. And I wish there was a way that YouTube would sort of reward people, especially the ones that do things accurately. Like I go out of my way to, but here's the thing. When we go by things that are accurate, we're using probable cause documents, charging documents, things like that.
Eyewitness testimony.
Yeah. And that's what's happening. But they claim that it's all a conspiracy, and that's how they get over the facts of the case. They go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, sure, okay. You're saying the mom said that it looked like Tyler. Oh, you're saying the dad said it looked like Tyler, but where is it? Let me see the interview. It's all made up in those documents. And so the thing is, when you're always doing that, it frustrates the people who want to, this is the phrase I hate the most, when people go, I love a good conspiracy. Like, you're doing the true crime, you read somebody, I love a good conspiracy. It's like, oh, really? I mean, if it's true, but they're so rare, it's unbelievable. And it's just, you can't win when you're just covering the facts, because people want you to turn it into something more. And then they go, okay, oh, you're one of those, you're Fed slop gray now. I just made a video that literally went from, did you see that one? The part A went from, it showed Tyler Robinson walking in the neighborhood. I used my camera. I used animated characters walking around, did the whole thing all the way up until the end of the dry run. So part 2 is coming up. But the thing is, part 1, it got like 2,000 views. Like, almost nobody watched it, even though it was shared on Twitter and everything. It's just unbelievable. Very, very frustrating. I really, if I said, wow, I caught him. I verified Fed slop. Look at this thing. Oh my God, I get 50,000 views in like 2 minutes. It's just,
no,
I don't know. It's really frustrating.
I share in your frustration, and it's frustrating. Here's what's more frustrating to me. I don't care if anyone watches my stuff or not. What's frustrating to me is when I see people that are just so obviously lying, and then they get the views that they do. That is a little bit frustrating. That's what pisses me off. It's not because out of jealousy, it's because, like, my God, man, Americans are dumb. Like, you guys don't see how obvious this. It's disappointing to know that Americans can be tricked that easily. ArtY, jump in here.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, well, you just got to remember, if there's a pretty good piece of evidence out there, it's most likely faking gay. That's pretty much how they're going about this. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, look, you can sit there and prove them wrong all day long, but they learn from the best that if it makes sense and it doesn't go with the conspiracy, it's probably faking gay. And that's literally all they're telling themselves. I run into that comment probably almost more than any other comment from one of her fans in general. It's genuinely a frustrating situation to be in. But, I do scroll through the comments, though, even though they do get massive views. I do scroll through the comments, and I would say probably about a good 30 to 40% of the comments on Candace Owens' own channel, too, is negative against her.
Well,
so there is some hope there.
I haven't been looking at her comments, but I can tell you, going back like 2 months ago, I was kind of about a month ago, I was regularly looking through there, and I kind of wanted to assess what percentage was negative. And I do look, I think in the last month, people are starting to see the mask come off. I think people in the last month or so and it's been incremental, a little bit more. Like, I think, going back to December, people were either supportive or neutral towards Candace. And I think people like us that have been exposing the truth and exposing her lies have had a deleterious effect on her viewership. And I think that we've also motivated people. And that's one of the things that I always try to do is like, folks, like, you got to get out there, and as dumb as it is to go down in there and to say negative things in the comments, I think it's important. Like, you got to start pushing back the same way that they are. Like, we got to start pointing out the facts. Because here's the thing is, going back 5 months ago or 4 months ago or 3 months ago, even, if you look in our comments, it's just an echo chamber of like, oh my God, this is so awesome. This is amazing. She's amazing. And like, I think those negative comments pushing back on her have a bigger impact than you believe. And I know it does. And here's how I also know it does, because I can tell you right now, in my YouTube channels, in my YouTube comments, there are tons of bots that are just, it's like copy and paste the same general theme. You start seeing this repetitive themes that take place. Like, you're a bot and you look at their account, it was just created, or like, it's easy to spot once you see it. And so somebody's paying to do that. Somebody that's very sophisticated, that understands how psychological operations work. So if they think it works and people are willing to pay money to do it, you better believe it has a bigger impact than you think. And that's our biggest problem on the right. We're like, oh, I can say this, but it won't have an impact. Oh, we underrate our ability to have influence, for sure. And that's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that anything you say isn't going to make a point. They want you to believe that everything that you do is just a waste of time, and that they're going to succeed. So just sit this out. I hear that all the time. Gary, just go back to doing gun content. Gary, just go back. We're going to do gun content. We're not done doing gun content. I promise you. I got a lot of videos coming up. We're going to be doing plenty of gun content, but I'm staying on this. And by the way, I probably would have let this go a long time ago if you hadn't pissed me off. And if you haven't come after my wife and kids, if I hadn't seen how evil that you actually were, I probably would have faded away from this and let other people. Not happening now. We're done. Like, I'll make this my freaking job. Do you
ever have that, ArtY? That people like that getting a hold of people
So far, not as much. Luckily, I have a couple people telling me to deep throat a shotgun. And that pops up every now and then. It like in emails. I just ignore them for the most part.
In their bio, right?
We should store
probably
the emails.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I just mainly, I don't know. I kind of write it off because I'm like, look, I know my house better than anybody else, the inside of it. I know what I got on my bedside right now. I'm not really that afraid because, I'm going to hear something. Alarm's going to go off. Something's going to happen. The moment someone pokes their head on in is going to be the last thing they ever see. And so really, I'm not that worried as of yet. Now, we'll see if things progress or not. But, one of those things that you were talking about a second ago, though, about like everybody needs to kind of comment and stuff like that. It really does help because, I mean, shoot, even as a crime tuber, you've probably heard this quite a bit, the bystander effect. Everyone always thinks, well, somebody else will do it. Someone else will take care of it. Everybody, especially that's watching this video, needs to be a person that is like, you need to treat it like nobody else is going to do it but you.
Yeah.
Be active. Go ahead. Let your comments be heard. It's not going to take much time. Be one of those voices of dissent to show other people that, hey, there's not just one path here. There's another path. Even if you get a little bit ridiculed, like you don't have to read those comments, if you are, truly convicted in what you believe in, do a little bit of action. It doesn't take much and nobody else is going to do it but you. So that's kind of what I have to say about it.
And I'll echo that. Number one, when I have, my followers down in the comments fighting a good fight and fighting against these people, so I don't have to. Number one, I appreciate that. Like, that goes a long way. I like, oh, look, freaking whoever it is, have my back. Old mean lady has my back, or whoever it is.
Exactly.
They have my back. And then on top of that, the other thing it actually goes a long way is I hear a lot of encouragement in the comments. Like, and some of those have been extremely timely when, a lot of things are going on and you guys say some of the nicest things. I'm like, man, that gives me the additional motivation to keep going, to get out of this funk that I'm feeling, whatever's going on. Right. So like, you guys don't be the bystander right? And don't get into that. Like you guys, what you guys do and you say, it actually matters a lot. And that's why Candace Owens has been so effective, is because she has deputized her entire audience. And then on top of that, you definitely have bots and sock puppet accounts that are helping with that as well. So do more, share our content. That's another way. Make sure that you like, subscribe. If you want to help us out financially, that's great. I would rather let me tell you something. If you're like, Gary, I can either give you $100 a super chat every single time, or I promise I'll share your content the sharing our content, that helps more than anything. I appreciate, and I hope, if you do both, that's great too. But my point is again, sharing the content, fighting it in the comments, pushing back on these lies. Don't let a lie go unmolested, right? When you see something that's not true, just like, that's a lie. Click, send, that helps. I'm telling you, this stuff goes a long ways, and they're winning because they understand that and we don't. Like, get out there, get mobilized, do something. Oh, I thought Gray died. I thought he died.
No, I was going to say that there was kind of an interest. That correspondence, White House, the shooter in that one.
Yeah.
So I made a video in that case, and that one did okay, but it started off so poorly, and then somebody shared it and it went up. It did pretty, 12, not great, but like 13,000 views or something. But it was amazing because everybody in the comments were like, wow, finally somebody's making a video that isn't a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Because I just went through and analyzed it. I found where the bullet hit the wall. And what's interesting too is like the guy turns and fires. And I thought, well, God, the bullet, since it missed everybody, must have been up on that wall. So I zoom in on the wall, and a third of a second later, a black hole shows up on the wall, and it stays the rest of the time. But I thought, wow, a third of a second, that bullet should have been there frame one after that. I mean, you know what I mean? Because it's really quick. So then I looked up, and it turns out that on surveillance footage, the camera's codec will actually store a background information of the background, and will only update that every minute, or every second or so. So literally, once it put a new background, then it shows up in there. So when people go, oh wow, how come that bullet shows up so late like that? That's an artifact. Well, it's not. It just means it didn't register on the camera for that like 15 or 20 frames or whatever it was. Absolutely. So it's kind of interesting. I didn't put that in the video, but I looked it up after.
That is interesting.
Working with video cameras and audio and stuff like that, especially audio sync is a problem even with modern day systems and really high quality cameras, let alone on CCTV or whatever garbage cameras they had in that hotel. I mean, people are crazy. It's kind of like the whole thing where, kind of going back to Charlie and all that, where people think that they are able to diagnose exactly what bullet they heard go off through a cell phone's
audio
microphone. Yeah. That is one of the most insane things. People never consider it. They always think that the way people are these days, they think cameras are just as good as a human being's eyes and ears. It's wild to me, the amount of compression that happens over audio, especially if something clips. I mean, if you were to snap your finger too loudly in a camera phone, you will not be able to distinguish that clipped audio from a gunshot. It's too much information.
I've talked about that as someone that has done a lot of filming of gun content with a cell phone, with an iPhone. Like I've told people that, if I could shoot 3 different caliber rifles with extremely different caliber from 22 up to 3.38 Lapua, and you probably will not even be able to distinguish between the two, between the 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever it is. Like you cannot tell what it is because it compresses the audio to make sure that it doesn't damage the actual microphone itself. So you can't tell the difference. So when I'm trying,
Bartholomew had a pretty good one, right? Bartholomew.
Yeah, he had an external high quality microphone. That was just again had a much better audio quality. And that's what I do when I'm doing like suppressor videos and things like that. I'm doing suppressor content or anything to do with sound. I got to make sure I have the best audio source, the microphone that I can, that has I'm trying to think in a second. But anyways, So then you can start to grasp or at least get a comparative. It still distorts it, folks, but you get a much better comparative analysis if I'm shooting 5.56 unsuppressed versus two different suppressors or whatever it is. So then you can start telling the difference. And audio and video, that's another thing too. It's like when you're looking at video, and everybody, including myself, was going over all the footage of Charlie Kirk, trying to interpret what happened when we're looking through a 30 frame per second camera, and that round is probably moving at 2,200 feet per second. I looked it up, like I did the calculations, and I did it through ChatGPT and AI. Like you're missing like 98.4% of the movement of the action taking place in a 30 frame per second camera with something that's moving at 2,200 feet per second. So like most of that information is lost, and we're just trying to look through the gaps of that.
Yeah, you want to see something kind of cool? I can show you this, like a sneak preview about, if you switch over to my, do I have to share a monitor?
Yeah, share.
Or what I do, hit it. It's pretty cool. I think you like it.
Should say present at the bottom or the plus.
Oh yeah, window. Yeah, this one right here. How about that? Or should I do a screen? Yeah, I'll do the screen. How about the, and then what do I do? Switch over. Yeah, that's right. Hold on a second. I'm using a different program this time.
Oh, let me remove this.
Here, let me just go. Wow. Hold on, that was from yesterday. There. Can you see my screen? Yeah, look at this. Watch this. So I made this video where that's what I'm working on now, part 2. Let's see if it's going to play. Yeah, so it comes out of the parking garage, right? So I'm going to move it forward. So I just have me walking, but I'm filling in the gaps with, like, I'll show you right when I get to the Losi Center building. So you've seen in the documents that at 12:02 or 3 he comes walking out right here. Watch. And so watch what I do here. I'm going to show you what is going to be on this surveillance camera. So watch this. So I show you right up there. I'll put an arrow when there it is. So there's where the camera is.
Yep. And
then look at, see that? I have this 3D character, even with the shadow at the correct time, walking. Can you see him over there, down there? He's coming in from that spot, and apparently he walked on the sidewalk, right? So then he continues around just like this. I even have a backpack and the hat and everything. See that?
So this is on his dry run.
Yeah. No. Well, this is the final one, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's just, I can't make him limp, unfortunately. But yeah. So then he goes into the building like this. So I'm just panning out. He goes into the building, and then I cut back to where I filmed it. So this is like his eyes, right? Like, so then he goes in, and then he goes up the stairs, and then right here I cut over to another animation. So I'll get rid of my audio. I'm still editing this thing. But see right here, and then it switches over. See, there's a character coming up.
Yep.
Right where we were standing, and then right there he's going to climb over the wall. This is what it's going to look like when they release it. It's going to be something just like this. And then I have him sit there for a minute or so because he doesn't climb over until 17. And then he gets up and he starts running. See that? Yep. That's going to be pretty cool. Then right there, I'm going to switch over to the whole the shot sequence. But it's all has a time. It's all going to have a clock ticking away. Because if you look at all this back here, right when we get to let's see. I think there it is at the top. So it's 12:01. The whole clock is ticking away this whole time. And then I'm going to make it match up with all of that. But it should be pretty cool. But see how there's nothing conspiratorial in it, you see. It's just what it is. It's all, and I put the clips, like the wording from the documents in there.
Well, and did you also add, because you and I were talking on the phone about all the new timelines that have come out regarding the search warrants, because now they actually have Tyler Robinson still at location at like midnight, 11 o'clock, something like that?
Oh, yeah, that's going to be later. I'm doing this in parts. So I did part 1 yesterday, had the new information about the parking garage. So I have I actually purchased a 3D version. I think it's right here, actually. See this? Watch this.
Oh, wow.
So I was able to down. So you're actually, that's Gary right there, everybody. He's in the shot.
What in that shot or anywhere on this location is Candace Owens or Baron Coleman or any of these other.
Yeah, none of those guys. Yeah, so
I'm just
this
impressed that he
one,
did all this without any web shooters.
see that right there? There's his car. I actually put in a Dodge Challenger, and then I have it drive down the street, and it turns in, goes into the parking structure right here. And then we don't know where he goes after that. And then he shows up over here, and he shows up in the wooded area, and then he also shows up in where Charlie Kirk was shot. And then after that, we don't know where he goes. There's he drives back to that neighborhood, apparently. So I do have him driving back. And then look at this. And this is, let's see. So he's in there. Oh, yeah, that's right. So when he went to campus, he was walking around. And then they talk about how they see him coming back into, he has shorts on now. He goes into the parking structure at 9:24. Then the vehicle leaves at 9:32, drives around, and then eventually makes it back to that same neighborhood over here. Then maybe parked right there, but we don't have the exact answer, where he parked.
Real quick, Ray, this is also new information that came from the search warrants, right?
Yeah, all this, that whole part right there was, right. And then I have him do his dry run, because look how interesting this is. So when he pulls over to right there, it's 9:36-ish, because he had to leave at 9:32, the parking structure, right? But then look at this. That's right when you see him on surveillance right here. Let's see, let me go back. It's 9:57, so just 21 minutes later, he literally is walking, wherever he parked the car, he got the backpack on, did whatever he's doing, and then he walked back over there again. So he walks all the way over, and this is where you were, right here with your drone.
Yep.
And then that's the house right there that actually films him later in the evening, but that's not what I'm going over it. I just say, hey, in the next videos or so, you'll see that he parked right around this spot right here.
Interesting.
So anyways, that was it. That was in the video I just put out, that part you just saw, this last one.
No, we
That
need
is
to
amazing work.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
Nobody does it like Ray, folks. When he puts all this stuff together and he creates these timelines and now animations, he's the freaking Da Vinci of true crime.
Oh,
I'd say
thanks.
so.
All right. Yeah, it's pretty fun making them. It takes a lot of time. This one's been taking a lot of time because if you're off, because what I have to do is I have to use a 3D model with the character walking on it, right? And then I use this thing called a shadow catcher. So it catches just the character and its shadow. Then you have to place it on an image, a still frame, where it's exactly the same and all the shadows hit and everything. So it's pretty tough. But
I thought Shadow Catcher was a CIA program that Candace Owens knows is being used to kill Charlie Kirk.
Well, that's the fund that they put the 7,000 that the Israelis are giving us each video.
And ancient Sumerian technology is involved.
I'm still waiting for my first check, but they did tell me that I was.
It'll be coming.
Did you hear?
Apparently, it'll come.
Well, here they go. Watch it. Did you hear what Gray said? He admitted it. That they're sending the 7,000. These people are crazy, man.
First of all, I'm way beyond 7,000. I actually have a Israeli plane that just flies over my house once a week, parachutes in a bundle of cash.
Oh wow, that's amazing!
And it's got some golden dreidels, some menorahs on it.
Nice.
Dynamic range, by the way, was earlier what I was trying to talk about, and it references both video and audio. Like having a microphone with good dynamic range allows you to pick up extremely low audio, but also extremely high audio. And most microphones, especially cheap ones on a camera, has very little dynamic range and they compress a lot. So, anyways, I want to clarify that.
That'd be this right here. Good
There you
old
go.
dynamic mic. That's what you want to use for loud sounds.
I have one for right here as well.
Nice, absolutely.
Not Kava. Yeah. So old mean ladies and spies here gathering intel to strategize against it, like they do it all the time. I couldn't care less. At this point, I believe people are willfully ignorant. You're both amazing. Thank you very much. She means you too, Gray. She means you too. You just weren't in here. I hate that I'm putting this over Gray.
She doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm turning Gray into Mr. Wilson. You just got to show just your eyes, Gray.
Yeah.
I'm sure nobody watched Home Improvement.
I'll go like this.
There you go.
Oh, Home Improvement's great.
Fuentes is an actual Nazi racist Holocaust denier. His rising popularity is extremely disturbing. Tucker, also known as Tucker, should never have platformed him either. I don't have a problem with platforming these people, but I do expect you to hold them to task if you're going to platform these people and not talk about, like, you're just going to talk about, I don't know, like you are, like, essentially he's promoting him, right? That's what happened with that. Not saying, hey, you know what? You said this about the Jews. You said this about black people. You said this about all the things that he's talked about, the most egregious things. Like, you never bring that up. That's a problem. All right. You're not operating in good faith.
Exactly.
Jeremy Boring released a statement that farmer DUI is real. He was also carrying a firearm, and it was widely known inside conservative circles. I think a lot of these things are, and this is another problem where people that know Candace know what was happening behind the scenes between her and Charlie Kirk. I think Graham Allen has been the only one that's come out and actually been kind of forceful on some of this stuff, knowing that look, I've been told by people very close to Charlie Kirk that he didn't want to talk to Candace. He wouldn't take her phone calls, none of those things. So take that for what it's worth. I live in a very small town that's largely conservative, but even here, there's about 10% with TDS. Stay safe out there, peeps. I agree. $7,000. Where do I sign up?
Hey, let me ask you something. Do you think
They find
like all the people that want, I think a lot of the people that are cheering Candace Owens on aren't even conservative or anything. They're just they're actually on the other side trying to pump out her ideas. What don't you think? Or
no. I've been saying this for a long time. I think the vast majority are liberals, or people that are apolitical, and for sure the vast majority are not people that covered or followed Charlie Kirk, because they just say things that if they'd known his body of work, they wouldn't say to begin with. So no, I agree with this. And people understand, people on the left are sitting back and laughing at all you dumb conservatives that have bought this stuff, that swallowed this stuff hook, line, and sinker. They understand how fracturing and destructive it is to our movement, and they're just laughing. And
I think like her and who's the other guy, Tucker, and these guys have been the most damaging force in the conservative movement since I've ever been, whenever I decided to become conservative, I've never seen anything worse than them. Yeah, it's just horrendous. It's
they're Trojan horses, right? Like they Again, I've tried to spend less time on this, but we always go back to trying to figure out their motives. I'll say this on Tucker is I think Tucker, for the first time, we're actually seeing who he really is. I think the grift was everything that we saw prior to around September, of where he switched, and really starting back at his interview with Putin. I think that was the grifting Tucker. He was grifting toward the conservative right and saying all the things to be the #1 Fox News host and everything leading up to that. Now he's at a point where he has his own network. He's making millions of dollars selling, nicotine pouches, amongst other things. He has lots of other book deals and things. He's at a place in his life that he can say whatever he wants. And I think for the first time, we're seeing the real Tucker. And I think the real Tucker was always this globalist, whatever he is. I don't even know what box to put him in, but he's not a conservative. And that's what's happening with him. Now, when
he says stuff, when he says stuff like, it's just true. This is his favorite sentence. It's something like, he says something and he goes, and that's just true. That's a true thing. And it's almost never true what he's saying. You ever notice that? But people see it. And the thing is when you first watch him, you don't know what's true or not. So you go, wow, this guy is telling me the truth. But then later on, when you know the truth and you hear somebody tell you this is the truth, and it's anything but the truth, what they're telling you, then they lose all credibility. For me, I completely eliminate them. And I just realized that I was tricked prior to that,
Yeah. No, absolutely. I used to watch Tucker every single day, and him and Joe Rogan I watched religiously and listened to their podcast religiously. And it wasn't, and I was a little bit in denial after Putin. I saw this evolution taking place, and there was a lot of people out there, but like I said, it was his comments at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, and I was like, dude, I'm done. I am done with you. When he was and it wasn't even so much his comments there. I didn't even care about the accusation he was making. It was days later when he tried to say that that's not what he was saying. And what he said at the memorial was like, I don't know, maybe somebody in the back room eating hummus, decided they were going to kill Charlie Kirk. I was like, wow, all right, he just accused Israel. And at the time, I was like, well, maybe Israel killed him. I don't know. So I don't really care about the accusation. But days later, he was being held to task, and then he's like, what do you mean I was talking about Israel? What? No, I wasn't talking about Israel. That's crazy. I love it.
That was pretty good imitation. That was pretty good.
Thanks. We'll start doing.
Yeah, like it's funny when they pretend that they're, hey, there's nothing wrong with criticizing Israel, you guys. It's great. That's a true statement, but that's not what they're doing. They're actually anti-Jewish comments all day long, every single day. That's what they do, but then they guise it under, it's just anti-Israel.
Well,
have you ever noticed that?
Here's how you can call them on their bluff on that. Then why do we talk about Zionists? Like that's the real attack is like, well, they've even kind of moved away from Israel or Jews is Zionists. So what you're saying is basically, first of all, almost every Jew out there is a Zionist. And of course, there's people like me that really didn't care, but now I'm definitely a Zionist. I'm happy to say that. I definitely have always thought that Israel had a right to exist. I didn't even know that was controversial. So that's your definition of Zionism. I'm a Zionist, but that's the real dog whistle. It's like they don't actually attack Israel. They don't even say Jews. What they say is these Zionists. Like, no, that's not Israel that you're criticizing there. That's not the government of Israel. I don't know. Jump in there, ArtY. What do you think?
Yeah, I hear people, and they'll always claim, well, we're only talking about Zionists or we're only talking about Israel. But it is funny because I hear them slip and say Jews all the time, and I've never had to slip into a word that sounds nothing like Zionist. Like a day in my life, you know what I mean? Like if I'm talking about a certain group, like I don't know, Islamists. You don't hear me go around and say Iraqis or, something a little more specific. You know what I mean? Or specifically Terry's, you know what I mean? Which is probably my favorite word to use really out of all of it. Cause it really does get the very specific people I'm wanting to talk about.
I just lump them all in there. And I mean that sincerely. They're all Islam has no business in America. They're all terrorists. Eventually, as soon as they take over, as soon as they become the majority, they're going to take over this country. And suddenly there is no moderates. They will expect you to you're going to be killed or you're going to convert. It's as simple as that. That's how it works. Go to every single Muslim majority country and look at the freedom they have. It's zero. Just stop pretending otherwise. So that's where I'm at on that.
No, absolutely. But I mean, I don't go and I guess you could say I don't single out a specific, I lump them all into the one thing for the most part. And I say what I intend, but it's funny because they supposedly intend Zionism, but how hard is it to say Zionist every time? And accidentally go, oh, oops, I said Jew.
Yeah.
It's like a 3-letter word versus Zionist. Okay. Yeah, it's funny to watch happen, but we know what they really mean by it. And obviously look at the attacks that have been going on. Shoot. How many attacks just took place in the past 3 or 4 days on Jews?
Yeah.
There was Australia or the UK where they just knifed them right there on the street.
And then all you got to do is look back at all the attacks on Jewish temples, synagogues. Like this is a common theme. So pretending otherwise, I don't know.
I think the rise in anti-Semitism can be attributed to. I mean, you can actually think that it's like Candace, Tucker, and these people have increased tenfold the number of people that are really thinking about, the Jews are always the problems. They're causing all the problems. And it's just right out of the Nazi Germany playbook. It's crazy.
Well, and Candace has done that effectively through conditioning by incrementalism. From September to now, that's how that happened. She couldn't have come out and said it's the Jews right away. She couldn't have come out and said it. Erica Kirk killed Charlie. People had to be sucked in and then conditioned. They had to be convinced that originally that she was sincere in her search for truth. And this has just escalated, escalated, and escalated. And I often wonder how many people, if they could look at themselves, if their pre-September self could look at themselves now and see the things that they're posting on X and other social media platforms, I bet most of their pre-September selves would be disgusted, would be shocked that they could have been manipulated to become that person. Real quick, this is a pretty funny clip from a recent interview with Tucker Carlson that I think really does encapsulate everything that we have going on here. But I said it's hilarious how these frauds go from a declarative statement to I actually don't know the answer when you ask for specifics. So watch what happens here. This is pretty freaking hilarious.
JD has been subject to, this is well known, but I'll just confirm it,
It's well known.
nonstop treachery from people on the neoconservative side.
Who are these people?
Around Marco Rubio. And they have been totally against JD Vance from the very beginning. and have been
Who do
working
you
to
mean
undermine them.
specifically?
You know, I don't know is the real answer. I don't know.
You're accusing people of treachery, so I'm wondering.
Well, I know there's been a lot of treachery for sure, and I know they were so mad about JD getting that job. I mean,
Who's they? Within the White House?
I don't know the answer to that. I've never worked there. So like, if you don't work there, you can say, you can say what you think you know, but it's hard to really know.
This is me looking skeptical.
Yeah. Well, no, but it's me being honest. Like, I don't really know. JD has been subject to, this is well known, but I'll just confirm it, nonstop treachery from people on the neoconservative side.
To go from that within 30 seconds to go, you know what? I don't know, actually. I don't actually know. I'm just saying things declaratively, and I don't actually know jack and shit. That's
Nobody calls us out on saying they. Why did you question me on they? You're just supposed to know who they are, you know.
We all know it's true. We all know it's true. That's been established fact. Like, I can confirm it. I don't know, actually. I don't know. I actually don't know.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that's the shame. I mean, if it was Candace or Fuentes in that position, we know exactly who they would have been.
Yeah. John Fortnite.
Yeah, exactly.
Please check out Ami Kozak, latest in Tucker. You will love it. I've seen most of his stuff. I don't know if I've seen his latest, but I do love Ami. He's pretty funny. I don't know. He's funny, haha. I don't find most of it he's dead on. He's dead on, but I don't know. It's like moderately. It's like humorous. Some of them are really good. Some of them not. I think people think they're funnier than I think they are. I'll just put it that way. But I love what he's doing. Anytime that you can include humor in your criticisms, especially if it's humor mixed with factual criticism, it's going to go further. And I've tried to get better about that on X because it is more effective. And that's what I've spent the last few months really studying messaging, right? And I think that's really important for us that are interested in this and understanding the psychological operations, what works, what doesn't, understanding how you can make a better impact and how you can communicate more effectively. And a lot of people do that for analytics, and I never have, and I don't care about the analytics. But ultimately, it's like, hey, we need to study communications, and that is a really good tool. And I will say, the more that you can throw in humor in there, the further your message is going to go. So that's somebody write that down. That's important.
Absolutely. I need to work on that myself.
I'm hilarious, so I don't need any. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, though. I just try to use dry humor, but a lot of times it fails, and they think I'm serious.
Let me tell you something. I enjoyed thoroughly hanging out with Gray. He is hilarious, and it is dry humor. And
but you get it. See, it's hard. You have to be smart to get dry humor. That's the thing, because you have to realize what the reality is, and then what you're saying is so ludicrous that right.
Well, going back to what you were talking about earlier, how everybody's like, well, you're just dependent on the Fed slop on the charging documents. And, this is what they said, especially when it comes to the Charlie Kirk assassination and even me going back to the Butler assassination. We didn't do that, Gray. We actually went on location And that was so helpful of not only the footage that we got so that we can share that information with others, but like the reality of the events just made so much more sense to me.
It was so easy.
Yeah.
What he did was so freaking easy to do. It was amazing.
And all these people that are getting millions of views, saying that they're investigating Charlie Kirk assassination and they haven't gone to UVU, like that in itself, they're just disingenuous. Like, you got to go there. And then on top of that, the other thing that we were able to do there, I talked to 4 eyewitnesses just while we were there. Only one of them wanted to come on camera. And then since then, I've talked to over a dozen. I've had like 5 or 6 on camera at this point. And all of them say the same thing. Again, I just said earlier, you know, we had one that he originally thought that this sound came from another direction, which is fine. That's going to happen in eyewitnesses. But all of them 100% believed that Tyler Robinson is the killer. And not to say that there isn't eyewitnesses out there that probably think that, you know, that something else. That's fine. But the fact that these people aren't even trying to get eyewitnesses on, aren't just doing the fundamentals of a basic investigation, just tell you how credible they are and how sincere they are or are not. And especially going back to Candace Owens, with all the resources that she has, the ability to hire teams to go out and find information. I would love that. Like, I would love somebody, and I would do this. If I had millions of dollars, I would have a team of investigators that I send on location. I could sit here. If I just, like, you know, I could do the Candace Owens things. But we could have, all right, hey, folks, our team out here, they're investigators. They got, you know, 100 years of investigative experience between them. They're on location. They're giving us this information, and they're trying to find real evidence, right? And they're talking to people and, you know, going through something that they used to do professionally. Candace could have the most elite team of non-government investigators on the planet. The reason she won't is because she can't control the narrative. And she's not going to be able to force them to come to the conclusions and share only the information that she wants shared. That's why she won't do it.
Absolutely. And even if she has done it, we could see a reason why she wouldn't release that info. They probably wasn't the desirable information that she wanted, if she had even done anything like that.
Yeah.
So
I don't think there's a
chance
chance she's ever hired. There's no way she's ever hired anybody.
Yeah, she knows she's full of crap. There'd be no reason to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But wasn't it like, I think the moment where you just go, man, this is like when you walk into the LOSI building, you know, you see where the camera is up there. You walk into the building and you just go through a door. You walk right up onto there, and you literally could just walk right where you step over the wall, run over and shoot. I mean, it's just.
I was shocked.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. It was almost weird how easy it was. Like,
well, and so at the time, understand everybody at the time, you know, we were hearing like, oh, you have to have a special key card to get into this building, and you got to get on the roof. And we were hearing Candace Owens talk about how you had to climb like Spider-Man, and we still hear that.
That's amazing.
Roof like Spider-Man. So crazy. That was like one of the things I genuinely like, I need this explained to me. Like, how did he get access to the roof? And then you walk up there, and I thought, well, yeah, maybe you got to have a key card. And I was imagining, like, I don't know, like, you know, on top of a roof, like New York City, where, you know, they got a flat roof and then a building, like a little structure that has a door open, like that's usually locked. No, that's not how it is. Or like some like locked ladder that you got to climb up there, and somehow he was able to, you know, move past that. I figured there was probably a logical explanation. I didn't expect to see what I saw, and that is, it's a freaking public walkway that actually moves between two buildings that literally it turns from walkway to the rooftop, and the only thing that separates it is a 3-foot guardrail. That's what it is.
Very simple.
Shocking.
That's crazy. Mainly crazy because, man, you know what students are going to go up there and do. I don't know why they would even like to have that liability in general. But there it is. I mean, it's shocking.
It is shocking.
Nobody on the Candace side, anybody watching Candace Owens videos, has no idea that staircase even exists.
Yeah, it feels like that, actually. It does. Her mind thinks that him jumping off is the same way he got up or something, you know?
Yeah, like
that was weird.
I believe it was I just showed this to somebody that's been pretty involved in this for a really long time, and they were like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was real." I know it was on the MG show, but somebody else too recently that I thought for sure had seen that. I'll think of it in a minute, but they were like, "Oh my god, I didn't even know that was the way it was." Maybe it was I think it was Liz Wheeler. I showed her that video, and I don't think she had seen it. I could be wrong, but yeah, no, it's people got to turn all this stuff into some insane thing, and then on top of that, not only do they turn this from a conspiracy, they turn this into a politicized weapon. And that's the thing that everybody should be like, okay, what's going on here? Like, this is just being weaponized against Trump, against TPUSA. Why is it being weaponized against TPUSA? Because TPUSA is inherently tied to Trump and tied to MAGA. And they're the organization that got Trump elected. If we can take them out, it will diminish their ability to get people to the polls. It's as simple as that. Like, it's not complicated. Not complicated at all. David Webb here says there's a difference between being critical of Israel and acting like a Jew is hidden behind every kitten stuck up in a tree and saying Israel is a bigger threat than Islam communism. Yeah. That's what they want to convince you. That's what the Ian Carrolls of the world want to convince you of. I don't care what video, and I don't share his stuff. I take a screenshot of it, and you guys need to do the same thing. Like all these people, Candace Owens, whatever else, you got something to comment on, don't share their stuff. Screenshot it and then post your thing above that and post it as a picture. That reduces their views. All right.
And it keeps them from deleting it.
And it keeps it from deleting. Yes, absolutely. So anyways, anytime that he posts a video, I'm like, hey, let me save you the time. Let me save you from having to watch this. It's the Jews. And it literally is every single time. Whatever's going on, he unravels this huge cabal that's taking place in the financial industry and government and whatever. And like, no matter what, there is a man with a big nose and a tiny hat sitting behind, ready to go, chewing on foreskins.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the Hamas saying, you know, I mean, they're like, there's a Jew behind pretty much everything. Yeah. And I wonder where that comes from. Tucker Carlson or something like that. I mean, you can only wonder.
It comes from terrorists, and now that all the terrorist talking points and our foreign adversaries' talking points have been adopted by social media influencers and everybody else, and they want you to believe this drivel, and it's exactly. So low.
I mean, here's the thing: don't you? I think we all know that Candace and Tucker, Candace for sure, does not believe. I think she's just absolutely doing this for the money and everything. There's no way she believes in what she's doing. So then it's like, I don't know. Then you ask yourself, well, then why are they doing it? Is it just for the money? Or is there some other, I mean, it's just, it really bothers me that people have that low of a moral compass where you could literally sit there. There's no way Baron Coleman. No, I mean, like the other day, I remember that video I made on the shadows and shit with the, it talks about it. They said it was 808. Candace did, and I looked at it and I go, this seems to be more like it's a continuation. So
and
I think this is more attentive.
This was like what, September 11th, 12th, somewhere in there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like late, like I would say like the 20th or so. Okay. You know, like that's probably by the time I got the shadow analysis done. But you know, the thing is Baron Coleman just recently was like, wow, look at this Gray Hughes guy. This guy's just done it, man. He's just proven that it was 1008, man. More Fed slop. And I was like, well, Baron, Candace is the one who told everybody it was 808. So you just debunked your boss there, you know? But like he was really, you know, he was nice and everything and complimentary towards my stuff, but I just don't have the ability to give him the same grace or whatever you want to call it back. You know, like I just went, you know, I don't respect him at all as a person, nor anything that he talks about or does, because I know these intentionally tricking people.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's a truth. That is a truth. Like to quote Tucker Carlson, a truth is he's intentionally doing it to trick people, unless he's an absolute moron on top of that.
Agreed.
I mean, well, when it comes to Baron.
Yeah, talk about what do you think when it comes to the motivations of these people, Candace Owens, and then I'll opine on it a little bit too, because I got some things to say, but I want to hear your take on that, ArtY.
Yeah, well, I mean, jumping right to Candace Owens, I can tell you this: to me, it's not about money at all. I mean, she married into one of the richest families in the UK. She has burnt every single bridge that she has been a part of from the beginning. I mean, 2016, you know, I was very, very, very aware of Candace Owens. She was not known as a conservative, like at that point in time. She was the lady who doxed kids, and we were all coming out and speaking out against it. I was super into video games and stuff, and this was actually a video game channel to start whenever I had started with it. And that's why it was named Arthemesia, and, you know, I had to change the name because that was a pretty hard name to pronounce. And I noticed all the changes coming in, and it started off with Candace Owens specifically targeting child gamers using gamer words, and she wanted to dox those people and teach them a bit of a lesson. You know, I remember when she cried after Hillary Clinton lost, and then 2 months later, she's red pill black, and then she's going in there and she links up with like Daily Wire. She links up with PragerU. She's linking up with people like Steven Crowder, and one by one, she burns bridges with every single one of them. The very thing she attacked Steven Crowder over was her hardcore defending, you know, the whole Daily Wire debacle that ended up happening between them and Steven Crowder. And months later, or well, not really months later, I guess it was about a year and a half later, she's fighting the exact same thing she fought Steven Crowder over. Now she's on his side, but she doesn't want to acknowledge that anything Steven Crowder said.
Yeah,
and it's just
Steven
cringe.
Crowder. Well, she went after Steven Crowder over his divorce and just completely unfairly characterized and smeared him during that too.
Exactly. That was the worst of the offenses, to be honest, coming out, slinging all the personal information. Candace Owens is so good at finding personal information on people and posting it. She has done it consistently since 2015, and she continues to do it to this day. She finds the most damning information on anybody, or information that looks damning, I should say. And she's able to just get it right on out there. She doesn't care at what cost. She doesn't care how bad it could make her look. She goes full force out there and tries to smear anybody that has made her mad that week. It has been a very consistent pattern. Speaking of which, too, what also is a consistent pattern that people need to watch out for is how often Candace just contradicts herself, like in the next sentence. She's did that during the Blair White debate. She did that whenever she was on Tim Pool talking about how Steven Crowder needed to pull his big boy pants up and negotiate. And then a minute later, she was like, but then he negotiated for a higher price. And I'm like, okay. And then they were like,
as well.
Yeah, exactly. On Piers Morgan, she did that. I mean, yeah, it is a fascinating thing to watch Candace Owens constantly contradict herself. It's one of the funniest things, and it's one of my favorite things to point out anytime I get the chance to. It's fascinating, but it looks to me like she is just a vengeful, spiteful person. And once you make her mad, her target's set. She will not stop until she ruins you.
Well, and I think that is her motivation. I think revenge is her motivation for all this stuff. It just happens to be useful at a larger scale. I think when it comes to Tucker Carlson, I told you what I thought his motivation was. And that is just, he's revealing his true colors. Finally, he's platforming Dugan. He's platforming Professor Jang or whatever his name is, another communist.
Yeah, the non-professor.
Yeah, the non-professor. Yeah. Like you can go through like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I just saw recently is now defending Candace Owens. That was wild to watch. Her motivation is revenge, and I think what we are going to see is we're going to see this Thomas Massey party that is, or whatever it is, this Tucker, Thomas Massey, this woke right party that's going to come out. I think it's going to be after 2028. I really do. I think we're going to see this party attempt to develop between basically now, post 2028. We're going to have a Democrat in there. That's their hope. This is their strategy, to where they can create this opposition party that's different than MAGA. They want to hijack the right, like essentially MAGA did, but for good reason. And they want to turn it into this isolationist movement that is spewing all the anti-Israel things and all this other stuff. So that's what's going on, in my opinion, with that. And I think all these, and Baron Coleman's motivation, strictly money and fame. That's what he's always wanted. He was a talk show host before. He left being a lawyer because he was a completely corrupt lawyer. He went out and intentionally created a whisper campaign to prejudice the jury. Like, this guy is a corrupt, and I've heard so many. I talked to the prosecuting attorney that worked with him. He was a government informant, and he was a government informant because he wanted to be. He wanted to rub shoulders and find dirt on people that were in the upper echelon of Birmingham society. That is the truth. That's what I was told directly by the prosecutor that used to work with him. And I heard nothing but bad things about him. I think he's a slime ball. And that's what I think of Baron Coleman. And he has continued to be a propagandist. That's what he is. Real quick, since somebody mentioned it, I'm going to go ahead and play this because I haven't seen it. We got the latest from Ami Kozak. Let's go ahead and play this. We'll see what the heck. Yeah, this is it.
And where it stands currently. When was the last time you were in the Oval Office?
Just a few months ago. I went to the Oval Office. I had gone several times, actually, like a lot.
And what did you see when you were there?
You know, everybody knows this, but I'll just confirm it. Like, BB had been in there before me, and he probably had a gun to Trump's head.
Really?
Like an actual gun, like a loaded weapon.
You're saying Benjamin Netanyahu had a gun to his head?
And he had Donald Trump in a chokehold, and I know that Donald Trump had a wrestling background. He was involved at one point in the WWE, but clearly that didn't matter, like at all. And BB had a gun to his head and said, "We're going to Iran. We're doing this." And Trump was like, "No."
And you saw this with your own eyes?
I mean, Washington insiders know this. They know this.
Wait, so this happened or didn't happen?
I mean, I wasn't in the room, but I imagine it was something like that was going on. I mean, you don't go to Washington multiple times without trying to influence the president for your agenda.
But you went. I'm sorry, I'm confused. Okay, well, what is your assessment of President Trump currently?
Well, I attempted to communicate with the president. I went outside into the forest and I screamed, "Don't do it!"
Okay, my earlier comments, I retract. Yeah. This one is actually hilariously funny. So good job, Ami.
I don't
watch.
know if that was effective. I don't know if he heard. I don't know if he could hear me, but I certainly tried to do that. I did. I think it's possible Donald Trump might be a wizard.
What?
I do believe that. I do.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the last time I was at the Oval Office, I walked in, and at one point the chief of staff looked at me, and Donald Trump himself looked at me. He said, "You shall not pass." And I thought, that's not our president. That's Gandalf. Gandalf the White. And there's nothing wrong with being white, by the way. I say that as a white person, as a man, as a Christian.
What is so funny about this is not only does he have the impression down to a T, but like, this is the wild shit that Tucker actually says. Like, it is not far off from some of the wild stuff that Tucker says. You're just like, what is happening here?
But Trump might be a wizard.
And so I understand you correctly. What you're saying is you literally believe President Donald Trump might be Gandalf from Lord of the Rings?
I don't know, but we should be able to ask those questions, I think.
Okay, moving on. What is your current relationship with Turning Point USA?
Well, like, I've always loved TPUSA. I've loved the organization. I've headlined many times. They didn't ask me to do it this year, and so that is what it is. But I've always participated in their events. I've never charged anything, by the way. I've always done it for free, and they always paid me a lot. So I
and do you think TPUSA as an organization is in decline?
I haven't the faintest idea, but yes. I just have questions, like legitimate questions. And the moment you ask questions, socialist, communist, anti-Semite, no. I just have legitimate questions, like what happened to Charlie Kirk? Should capital be taxed at half the rate of labor? What's Bibi Netanyahu's father's middle name? Or if a demon rapes you without protection, should you get checked for STDs? It's itchy.
Okay, tell me more about J.D. Vance.
Who is J.D. Vance?
J.D. Vance, the vice president?
I mean, I know J.D. are letters. I mean, they're letters, J and D. I mean, J, people are going to say, Nazi, J, but those are just letters to me. Those are just letters of the alphabet to me.
You're telling me you don't know who J.D. Vance is?
I literally don't know who that is. Those words have never come out of my lips, actually. I've never uttered those words ever, and I've never...
Tucker, look, I've watched you for years, okay? Way back during the cable news days when you had a show on...
What show?
Your television show.
I've never had a show, like at all.
You had one of the highest rating television news programs?
I've literally never uttered words out of my lips on television, like ever, like that I can recall.
I'm talking about the years when you were on Fox.
What do you mean by Fox? Like the animal?
No, Fox News.
I'm sorry, I only know Fox the animal. I mean, I don't know what it sounds like, actually, like at all. Like, what does the fox say?
Tucker, are you okay?
I've never been on TV. I don't know what this is. Where are we? Who are you? Who am I? What is this? What is this? These are questions. I have questions. Who am I? I don't know. Where are we?
We should take a break.
Who am I? I'm Jean Valjean. What is this?
Why are you all wet, baby?
What is this?
Yes, he's here. How are the hallucinations?
Get out of here, Tucky. These people are all Christian Zionists.
You've been here, a patient of this institution.
I was molested by a demon in my sleep.
The dreams you have every night.
There were claw marks. There were.
And you've uncovered a conspiracy so that anything we tell you about who you are, what you've done, you can dismiss as lies.
Okay. Shut up, Nazi! I'm friends with J.D. Vance.
I've been hearing this fantasy for 2 years now. I know every detail.
I love that!
You're the most dangerous patient we have. Your crime is terrible, one you can't forgive yourself for, so you invented another self.
I totally agree.
You understand?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
He has the impression down pretty well.
He does.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
That is amazing.
Here we go. You're amazing too, Grace. You wanted to follow up and make sure that you get.
Thank you.
Play it well. Jenn has invited Ami on the show. The woke right have all one thing in common. They're all narcissists and have black and white thinking. They don't reconcile anything that contradicts their assertions. This is true. They will accept anything. The other thing to do, they will accept anything that affirms the bullshit they believe. That's the other thing, even if it has no basis in reality. Candace seemed like a woman scorned Tucker as a theological battle with people and God of Israel. Their strains of Christianity are totally threatened by the existence of Jewish people in Israel. Some breaking news, folks. If you didn't know this already, I have confirmed this through sources that know, and I will have somebody on to talk about it in more detail. Candace did not go to the Vatican. She was not at the Vatican. And we're going to be talking about that more in the very near future. As a matter of fact, according to people that know, everything that she's doing as far as her confirmation is against Catholic canon law. And I will have someone that is very, well, I'll just tell you, we're going to have Bree Dale on. She's going to talk about this. She lived at the Vatican. She covered the Vatican for many, many years. I've never heard her say it, but I've heard it repeated many times that she went to the Vatican. And I was like, how on earth is the Roman Catholic Church affirming, and by the way, she's being converted officially, and they're not saying anything about what she's doing? That seems wild to me. And come to find out, she didn't go to the Vatican. That's not what happened. And that has been a false narrative that's been pushed all over, and we're going to debunk it because it's worth debunking. Because what that does, allowing that narrative to fly, is, again, affirmation of her actions by the Vatican itself. And that means a lot to a lot of Catholics out there. And that's not what happened at all. So we're going to have Bree Dale. We're going to talk about that. Just one of many lies that continuing. And I've never heard her say that, but a lot of people have. And by the way, I thought she went to the Vatican. ArtY, didn't you think she went to the Vatican?
Well, I mean, according to her, but I mean, there were quite a few people that flew into Italy right at the exact same time. It's just a little weird. So I don't think she ever made it. I don't think she went there. I think she had different plans.
No, it was an Egyptian plane that she flew in on, though. That's the interesting part about it.
I think she has lots of sky miles.
Exactly.
Plane. I think she went there for her confirmation, all those things, but it didn't happen at the Vatican. And again, there's more to that story. There's a whole conspiracy behind it.
I'm excited.
She wants people to think that she's sort of divinely, there's something divine about. There's, I remember early on, she started making these comments about like Charlie Kirk had these dreams, and then she had dreams too that somebody was, what's that word? Stabbing him in the back or whatever. No. And she is now his David, right? Like she wants to pretend like she's sort of biblical and she's associated with biblical things. And I haven't heard her do that as much lately, but
she is in full contact with the divinity, and everything that she's doing is inspired and blessed by God. That's the image that she's trying to portray. And she even opened up her whole Mitch Snow debacle with her saying that she was in mass praying for some sort of revelation, and then suddenly that night Mitch Snow email lands in her lap, and she's talking to Mitch Snow. And folks, you are going to at the end of that episode, you have no choice. The government, the U.S. government, is going to have no choice with all of the facts and the evidence that she's going to lay out. The U.S. government is going to be forced to come out and admit that they were involved in the Charlie Kirk assassination. I didn't see that memo from the U.S. government. I didn't see that. Matter of fact, I didn't see any evidence of anything that would lead a sane person to come to even that conclusion. But here we are.
What happens? They're paying they must be paying Tyler Robinson a lot of money to keep him quiet, you know?
Yeah.
Like he's sitting there just going, man, thank you. My family's set. I'll sit in jail for the rest of my life, maybe even be executed, but I'm going to go ahead and they're going to get that money that somehow you use me to. It's such a stupid.
Probably got his own like wing that's just set up like an apartment. All the doors.
Sure.
He's got some nice furniture in there. He's back there playing the Xbox.
Twigs can visit him. Yeah.
Twigs can visit him. I probably moved on from Twigs. I mean, he's got a lot of choices in prison.
yeah, there you go.
Really upgraded.
Well, that's true.
Why Twigs is testified against them.
There you go.
Also, don't forget, Candace did also claim she was an alien. So,
well,
I can almost believe that.
Like that's we probably have the most amount of evidence to confirm that of anything that we've been presented. That she is Anunnaki. She is a fallen angel. She is something. Stepped out of a UFO. I don't know. We'll have to get Ashton on to explain all that. Well, listen, ArtY, I appreciate you coming on tonight. Give the final word for everybody out there.
yeah, absolutely. Guys, don't get blackpilled. That's for sure. There's still a lot of hope out there. Stuff's coming out. And sounds like you got some crazy stuff getting ready to come out. I'm excited to hear about the whole Vatican trip here. This is going to be a heck of a day once that's released. And we'll be having a lot of fun with that. But definitely be active. That's what I got to say.
Yep. Don't have that bystander complex, right? That syndrome.
Exactly.
Understand that the things that you do online, if everybody did something, this would have been nipped in the bud a long time ago. And we got to get more people pushing back. There are no bystanders. Folks, we're in the fight for our country right now. Understand that. Understand, I genuinely believe, and I don't want to use hyperbole here. I think we are in an existential fight for this country. I really do. Gray, any final words for everybody out there?
Just don't get suckered in by the crazies out there. Just go with the truth. You know what the truth is when you hear it, not the bullshit that you get sold on a daily basis by nut jobs. That's all I can say.
All the evidence, logic, not your emotions, or just because you like to believe conspiracies. One last super chat here. Aaron Waters says, I think she was pre-Second Vatican Council Catholic. Bree's going to break it down for us of what's going on with all that, and we will have her on soon. Well, listen, gentlemen, I really appreciate you both coming in. Gray, I always love seeing you in the chat, so I can invite you on. When you got that new video coming out with the whole timeline, let's do it. Let's do another collaboration. Let's collaborate, bro.
Okay, cool.
Enjoy your breakdowns, and there's nobody out there that does it better. ArtY, you keep doing what you're doing. God bless you. I appreciate you out there being a truth teller as well. And can't wait to see your channel blow up. You deserve it. And if there's anything I can do to help you do that. And folks, right now, if you haven't done so already, make sure you go like and subscribe to ArtY's channel and to Gray's channel. And if you got any energy left, you can come over here to Paramount. You can subscribe to us as well. So we really appreciate it.
Nice meeting you, ArtY.
Good meeting you too, man. Thank you all so much.
All right, folks, thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you for your love and support. Thank you for being truth tellers and not believing the BS. And until next time, you guys don't go anywhere. But until next time, everybody else out there,